Well, it doesn't really.
What does that? What does that mean?
It doesn't mean anything. The Earth doesn't.
It means so. It wouldn't have been written in the scripture if it wasn't. Didn't mean
well, what do you think
anything
it means, Debs? What do you think it means?
It's immovable. I see that a hat placed on a hook on a door.
Moves,
it does not move.
Yes, it does. It moves.
No, it does not. How
Yes,
does it move? It hangeth upon nothing. That means it
rotates around the sun. It rotates around the sun. That's how it moves.
In space.
When Debbie, when you hang your balls from the Christmas tree, they do turn if there's a breeze, right?
Yeah, but they're hanging on a tree. I mean? They're hanging on a tree. The earth hang upon nothing.
Does it have a hanger though?
It doesn't say that's moving. How's it hangeth upon nothing if we're on the move?
Then what? How do you know there's no string at the North Pole?
If the Earth doesn't move, what is the sky doing?
It's a really big rope.
Something to think about. I don't know.
Hey, if the Earth
and dismiss.
If Earth doesn't move, why is it that when you look up at the northern hemisphere, the sky goes counterclockwise, but when you look in Australia, it goes clockwise? How? How is that possible?
You're asking me a question because I've never been to the southern hemisphere, sir. I'll tell you this, but if you think of it as an umbrella up there and you have the stars placed and add perspective to it, it's like an umbrella. It all spins and the one stars and points directly over the pole.
If it's an umbrella, Debbie, then it could be the case that they're going the other direction.
Well, let her talk
for a second. All the stars rotated around it like it was perfectly placed there. It was set there. It's a timepiece up there, if you don't know by now. It's a time clock up there that you're looking at.
If it's an umbrella, we wouldn't see them rotating around the southern pole.
Rotate around the southern pole? Okay, so maybe, I don't know. See, I've never been there. I don't know to travel to look at the sky at the whole time.
It's pretty easy to get Google pictures of the southern pole.
If you go to Karen B's channel, she describes it, and I didn't yet understand it yet, because I do have a life and I'm doing other things, but you have to you have your own perspective. You have your own perspective sky, and as you move, I don't know how the stars are moving. How am I supposed to,
they're rotating around the northern pole and around the southern pole.
Yeah, so you have your own perspective of the stars. Okay, so you're saying
it's not possible on a flat Earth with an umbrella.
No. Yes, you're looking up. So you're looking up to determine what's below your feet, ma'am, sir, whoever you are. Who is that?
It's me. It's Brenda.
Ma'am.
Whatever.
But sir, now.
Whatever you want. Whatever. The point is that there's a southern pole and a northern pole, and that can't be the case on a flat Earth with an umbrella.
No, you've not proved the bottom of the ball.
It's possible, Debbie.
Proven the bottom of the ball.
Wait a second, both of you. If you would take a camera and you would
You're telling me there's stars below my feet? I think not.
Listen for 1 second. Just listen for one. Listen for 1 sec. Let somebody else. Listen for 1 sec. I'm not talking about stars underneath. Listen for 1 sec. Listen for 1 second. If you would record the sky from your house right now, and you would play that fast enough, then you would see it go counterclockwise. Then if you go on vacation, no matter when that is, if you go to Australia and you would record the sky again, it will go the other way around. How would you explain that?
The only way I don't know. Well,
that's the whole problem.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. You're looking up. You don't know what's going on up there.
Yeah, but
that's an observation. That's an observation. That doesn't prove. That does not prove any way, shape, or form that that's what you're walking on is on a sphere. That doesn't prove that.
Of course it does, because how else can...
say it's impossible on a flat Earth?
No, it's not possible because you have a counterclockwise and a clockwise rotation. How is that possible?
Right, and you got it all figured out, right, sir?
No, it's just simple as that.
Go ahead and be the fool as Copernicus was, and you go ahead and be the fool as Copernicus was.
Then how would someone explain that it goes in Australia the other way around? How would someone explain that?
Listen, this is how it works. There's
Karen B has a perfect explanation for that. Whether you buy into it or not.
Fucking globe. It's only possible on a globe. Nothing else can do that. Nothing else can do that.
No, I've not observed that, sir. Why are you asking me that question? Yeah,
Okay,
I've heard that
okay,
story
okay.
before. I've heard of it.
I will explain it to you. If you take 2 cameras and you have a basketball and you will tape a camera on the top and on the bottom and you will record both at the same time and you will spin that ball, you will see that one will go counterclockwise and the other will go clockwise. Then you will go make a flat earth and you will put 2 cameras, at one at the middle and one at the end. And you will see that it will go both the same way.
Okay, so if you take a piece of if you take toilet paper roll and put these put like 2 wheels on each side and spin it, and if you look in either direction, it's going in the opposite directions, right? Correct. So you're just in the opposite side of the earth, well, on the outer skirts, so to speak. So it would go in opposite directions.
Is this the toilet paper roll theory of the Earth? Is that what that is?
You said it can't happen and toilet paper is flat.
Toilet paper isn't flat. The roll is a tube. It's a tube.
Well, right, but you can mash it. You're still, it's level when you're
mash it.
walking on it. You're level. Yeah, from left to right, it's flat. Okay, yes, it's round. Yeah.
Okay, in
still,
regards,
but you're talking about the stars right now, and that's what I was talking about.
yeah, in regards to the rotation of the stars.
The stars rotating, they rotate in opposite directions if you look right or left if you're standing on the toilet paper, so to speak.
Yeah, so
okay, they're
away for them to understand this, because it's very simple. It's so damn simple. I don't know how they're not getting it. But an even simpler way to understand it is, imagine you have a ceiling fan. Okay, so now you're on one side of the room and you're looking at the ceiling fan, and it's rotating, clockwise. You go to the other side of the room and you look at that same ceiling fan. Now it's going to be rotating the other way. It's based on perspective. You look to the north, you see that the stars are undergoing dextro-rotary movement, right? They're going clockwise. And then you look to the south, you're going to see that those same stars are now have leave rotary movement.
Are still rotating clockwise. No, they don't.
They do.
Oh, you're wrong. Do it. You obviously haven't done it.
You obviously just don't understand the concept.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Stepping in.
The Earth is God's roll of toilet paper. Is that what we're saying?
No, we're saying
I was just giving an example.
Ceiling fan.
If you go to Flat Earth Data, and you can speak to him all you want, and he just shows something. It's just a simple demonstration. That's all. That how is it possible? So I was like, oh, okay. But I've seen Karen B. Karen B has
something so simple.
Karen B has like a model. She has like a model of how it would go, and but anyways.
Are you sure I should go to Flat Earth Data, the man who's been caught falsifying his models?
Oh man, he just shows a couple of. I don't watch all his videos. I don't know. He just showed this is something, just say, well, this is what can be going on. I don't know.
I mean, I said,
don't expect me to have all the answers, but that doesn't.
Really bad source of,
don't say it's impossible.
He's a really bad source of information. He is really bad source of information.
That's your opinion.
He's been caught intentionally. No, he's been caught intentionally breaking his models in such a way to where they don't work when he tries to use them to elucidate points. He is intentionally dishonest.
It's not really a model. It was a piece. Toilet paper roll is not a model. I'm just saying that how you have opposite rotations of the stars.
It's a true story.
In either locations.
I'm trying to respond to percent right now, Debbie.
Still an ad hom. It could be a true story, but still an ad hom. If you're not attacking the actual point, the whatever video or whatever piece.
Well, what he's saying is that somebody who falsifies things is not a reliable person to cite.
Maybe,
okay,
or maybe his
what
point
flat earther is reliable? What flat earther is reliable? What flat earther is reliable?
Debbie, shut up. I'm talking to percent here.
You'll say no one, right? No one. For fuck's sakes.
So flat earth
if you with Debbie, no flat earthers are reliable. They're all liars.
We can always count on Debbie. You know that.
Yeah, it's like old times, isn't it, Curve?
Yeah. Source criticism, but not ad hom.
Okay.
Replace that toilet paper tube with a corn cob and you got yourself a model.
Whatever.
I mean, it's nice to know that some things never change.
Yeah.
Never, ever. Come back 20 years, it'll be exactly the same.
Brendan.
Some people
Well,
do change.
actually, that did change. That did change.
Didn't change. You're dude. That's all. And it won't
No,
change.
no, that did change. So get over yourself. Step up into the modern world.
Yeah, you was.
It's all going to work out.
The stars rotating in the sky get work on fat model. I'm tired of hearing that. Tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Debbie, the problem is that the problem is that the Earth is actually a globe, and you're just wrong, and you refuse to admit it.
Then how do I? That's not how I experience it. How do I experience it as a spinning ball flying through space, going at these immaculate speeds around the sun,
I have the
rotating,
perfect solution.
spinning
You can
1,000
try at
miles
home.
at the equator line, at the equator.
Look at that
Going a
picture.
whopping 450,000 miles.
Yo,
to
look at the
and
picture.
there's another additional
It's
mileage
not
that we're
something
going.
you can
The whole sort.
experience. It's not something.
Your senses aren't refined enough to feel it, Debbie.
Senses, okay. If I poke you with a needle, you're not going to feel it. Shut up, dude. Earthquake. I feel earthquakes. I have senses.
Hey,
all
who
your
you?
senses. Use all
What
your
are you
senses.
what are you saying?
Observable reality. What are you talking about? You throw them out the door.
If you want to prove it for your own self, do what that. Look at that picture. You see a ball. If you tape two cameras on both ends on the poles, for example, we call it a pole. You have a line on the upside down. You will spin the ball and record what it does. You will see that the top will go counterclockwise and the bottom will go clockwise from the camera's perspective.
So they spin the ball when I was a child and hypnotized me to believe me that I was a living
Do
on
you
a
understand
sphere.
what
Is that when you got pricked by an eagle?
Do you understand what I'm asking you?
The top and the bottom.
No, just assume no, man.
So if you would record both of those cameras at the same time when the ball is spinning, and then you will put it on your PC and will look at both those videos, you will see that they both turn the other way around. How would you ever fix that on a flat plane? You cannot make that happen. That's the whole point. It will only work on a globe or a ball. That's why it's impossible to have a counterclockwise and a clockwise rotation space on a flat plane. It's not possible.
Yeah, I guess if you're changing locations, that probably would be possible. You're just changing your location. We'll say it's impossible.
It's
that
that
was the main problem, was looking up to determine what you're walking on. It's stupid. It's old.
Some things are just not possible, Debbie. And it's not possible for something to go clockwise and counterclockwise at the same time in the same way. It just can't happen.
Right. Okay. So
Only
you
on
have
a globe.
gravitational pull on Earth, but the moon does not. The Earth does not pull the moon to it. It's just, in harmony. Right?
We're only talking about
That's
the
impossible.
movement of the sky you will see with your own eyes. But yeah, you can't
I see the moon
see that.
right up there in the sky, and the Earth would pull the moon to it. You see objects, mass attracts mass, they attract each other. It stays up there in perfect order. Shut up, man.
They do.
You have to shut up
That's
because
impossible. The gravity's.
Well, it's probably possible, but you don't want to believe it. It's not. It's not
Gravity is a force.
if it's true or not for you. You just
Gravity
don't
was a
want to
force.
accept it. That's the whole point. Even if you see the proof yourself, you wouldn't.
Experience it, sir. Because I don't experience walking on a sphere, driving on a sphere, flying on the top of.
Nasty people.
Gave you two examples how you can experience it for your own, but you don't want to accept it.
Because I'm looking at the ground, I'm looking at what I can touch, I can feel, I can use my senses. I can't go up in the sky and determine all these things that are going on.
I can see the stars go round in a circular pattern around the North Star and the southern
You see a
pole.
lot of things. That's just observation. That's it. From there on, you really
Well,
can't
that's
do
all
nothing. You can't
anything
go up there
is.
and examine. Yeah, it's just
Yes, but we
observation
can
up there. That's
see
it.
that they
Don't
go.
say it won't work.
Do you feel?
There are two poles.
Do you feel dust mites walking on you?
You're saying stars below my feet. I call bullshit on it because you could never prove that to me.
Do you
Only
feel?
in a freaking picture, maybe.
Do you feel bacteria?
or what have
Do
you.
you feel bacteria walking on your skin right now? Do you feel that?
Take a bath, sir.
Do you
What
feel
do I do on my
bacteria
skin?
on your skin right now? Do you feel them crawling on your skin?
At times I do.
Like that.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's fucking impossible.
I get itchy from time to time. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
that's
do.
We
bacteria.
need to organize an astral projection party.
Yep. After I take a shower, I itch a little bit. What is that? They don't like my soap, do they? Start making, wreak havoc and stuff. Yeah, I feel it.
No, you don't.
I don't know what's going
You're
on
just
here.
saying that to prove your own point that you want to have your
That's
truth
stupid,
or something.
sir. That's stupid, sir.
I don't care about these other things, but the
You can
proof.
take a microscope, can't you look at it if you wanted to? Huh?
I think you can see it, but you can't see it right now.
The point is that you can see it if you use a device.
Debbie,
You
yeah,
can
but
see
it worked out, Debbie.
With the naked
All
eye.
right then.
Can you see? You know that a human body exists 99% of nothing, right? Just air, nothing. There's nothing between atoms.
It's not air.
So how
It
would you
is.
explain that? That you're only 1% mass and the rest is
water.
water.
There's a lot of water, but it doesn't matter. The point is that we have 2 points of rotation, the North Pole and the Southern Pole, and that can't happen on a flat Earth. End of story. Welcome to Globe Earth, Debbie.
That's you
I
say.
can walk through walls.
I don't have to believe it if I don't want to.
Yeah, that's true, but that will not change
That's
the
your
fact
problem,
that
not
you
mine.
live on a globe, even if you don't
That's your
believe it or not.
problem, not mine. That's your problem.
That's the same if I say that you don't exist. Does it mean that you don't exist because I say so?
I don't care if you think I exist or
Yes.
not.
I can
It's your belief
prove
or
you
not.
exist. I just hear somebody, I can prove you exist.
I didn't ask you to prove that.
Do you
I really
want
don't care
proof for yourself if you
if I
live
exist
flat
or
Earth or not? Do you want that proof or you just want to believe something? That's the whole point.
Well, you know she exists, and you're only using one of your senses.
You have faith in your belief,
Just one, mate. Imagine if you used all of them.
but you don't experience it. You're just being told a bunch of
What is
garbage and you believe
experience
it.
in your eyes? If you record your sky for 6 hours and then look at the video, is that experience for you?
That doesn't mean anything. You're just looking. It's just an observation, sir. That's it.
Yeah, and what does that observation tell you then?
If you're the first astronomer, you can make up anything you want about the sky.
If you record the sky and you will play back that video and you will see the movement counterclockwise, what does that tell you? That it goes counterclockwise, right or not?
That's the story that I've heard. I've not been down there to examine. Sorry.
You have a cell phone, right? Or a camera. Just record the sky for like 2 hours and then check that video in a fast way and you will see that it moves a direction. That direction is counterclockwise if you live in the northern hemisphere. That is your reality and that is what you can see and that is what you will observe. That is correct, right?
Counterclockwise. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's counterclockwise.
He's a photographer. He's famous for his filming in Australia, the stars.
Yeah. So but you want to. The point is you need to prove it for yourself. That's why I'm asking you. Just record the sky for yourself, and you will see it will go counterclockwise. And if you ever go to the southern hemisphere to a country there, then do it again, and you will see it goes the other side
that
around.
means there's something else going on.
No. That is where you flat earthers are wrong. You deny what you see. There is nothing else.
Astronomy is the end of all. It's not.
That's just denying what you see. You deny what you will see then. That's the whole point of you flat earthers. You will not accept it because you're wrong.
Do you acknowledge that those stars, the sun and moon and everything up there was placed in perfect order for us?
It's not perfect order for what? What's the perfect order?
Oh my gosh! The moon phases, keeping up with the months, the days.
Yeah, that's right now, but that wasn't like 2 million years ago. That's right now for us.
2 million years ago? Well, who was around 2 million years ago?
Yeah, well, you and I weren't.
You don't know that. You don't know what was going on 2 million years ago before even this place even existed. What are you? My God.
Oh, but you can calculate that. That's the whole point.
Yeah, no, you can make up a story and you know.
Yeah, like the Bible is also a made-up story, but a lot of people believe that.
Made up story, right?
Yeah, do you believe that a human actually can make 350 years? Do you believe that?
That could say that again.
Could a human being age to 350 years? Is that a possibility?
Well, okay, so if you look at now, what's like the highest?
Methuselah lived over 900 years, sir.
Something
What?
like that. 800, 600 years, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, a human can live 800 years. That's what you're saying.
Because you're not gonna so you don't understand like the atmosphere there. There may be rich with oxygen back there.
On Earth, can a human on Earth?
There's a reason. There's a reason why we're short-lived now. There's a reason
No,
for that.
we live longer now because of all the medical shit we have.
The Earth was corrupted back then. It got it shortened the years. Had he not, we'd be dead. We'd not even be here.
How does that make any sense? That doesn't make any sense.
Here's the funny part about this.
It's not supposed to make any sense.
If you go to the Babylonian Kings list, which predates pretty much everything in Judaism, people lived for several thousands of years. If you go to the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas, people lived for almost tens of thousands of years. Now, how far back do you want to go?
All the garbage.
I thought the Earth was only 6,000 years old. How can they live?
McDonald's, McFuckburgers, everything. They didn't eat that back then, so I can see them living a longer life.
Well, you have to remember the Yazidis have had a continuous calendar for longer than Debbie thinks the Earth has been around.
The Vedic is one of the oldest astronomy and most accurate.
Also, well, what about your travel routes, Debbie? Are they safe these days? Are you still being accosted by that rock dirt clump throwing Bigfoot, or are you okay now?
Kurt, what are you talking about?
How's your
Remember
side
when you were
windshields?
having that Bigfoot or whatever throwing rocks and clumps of mud or dirt at your car when you were driving?
Look, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that was. I don't know what it was. It can't
All
be
right, well,
kids
whatever it was, it's not happening anymore. You're safe now.
No, I'm not in that area. I'm not in that area, thank God. But anyways, I could have died. I called the police. I did call the police and I let them know what's going on.
Yeah,
got people around
that
and stuff.
cuts your life expectancy way down when you die. That's good that you didn't.
Well, that's not what I was referring to about like lifespan and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I could have hit a tree and landed in a ditch. It was dark out there.
Sorry, I don't believe any of this people living beyond 120
I don't
years.
believe you're that concerned. Okay.
130 is maybe possible, but not
What about
300.
You got a remote control boat yet or anything?
This star rotation in the south is just ridiculous. It's
Why? I see it every night.
It's a flat Earth killer. It's a flat Earth killer.
I see it every fucking night.
okay. Now, now, all you gotta do is just traverse the South Pole and film it.
Why would I have to do that?
Why not?
I gotta agree. Why
I
would he
can
have?
see it from my position.
Don't you want to know what your terrain is, where you live?
But why would I have to do that if I can see the South Celestial Pole from my position?
It's just snow and cold as fuck. That's all it is.
So,
People sail around Antarctica every year. It should be 70,000 miles on the flat Earth, but it's only like 17,000 miles in reality.
Well, another thing about circumnavigating the Antarctica is that you will either go right when you circumnavigating if you go like from Africa to Australia, you will keep it on your right side. If you do that on a flat Earth, you will go to the left. That's the whole point again. You will go the other way around. If you understand that.
You realize that you can get a job down there, right? And they'll pay you to go.
Yeah, but then you need a degree. You can also
No, you
pay
don't.
like $10,000 and you go there, but
Why do you need a
No, then
degree
you
to
take
clean
for
fucking
house
toilets?
stuff as well. Yeah, like
I don't really
catering,
know if you can do that, right?
You're gonna have to
Would
fit
you
the
like me?
criteria.
Would you like me to get you the application form?
Assure you that they're gonna ask a ton of questions.
Actually, no. It's the same as applying for any other job.
Do they really have that?
You're gonna have to.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah, because I really thought that they do that themselves.
AntarcticaJobs.gov.au.
You have to put $1 to a donut once you get down. They're gonna ask you a bunch of other questions.
Why? When they'd ask you all the questions before you leave.
Oh, God.
Yeah, if you're hired, they just ship you down there.
Isn't there a treaty?
Yeah, but the treaty only affects that you don't make military bases there.
Normal
That's the treaty.
application, you get asked questions if you're going into the FBI or anything like that, or
What the fuck does the FBI have to do with Australia's jobs down in Antarctica?
Guarded by certain countries and stuff. I mean, who are you?
You've never actually read the treaty, have you, Debbie? Have you read the treaty? Have you read it, Debbie? Have you read it?
On Wikipedia, very briefly, yes. Why?
Yeah, what part of it says that you cannot go there?
That was a long time ago. I can remember everything I read. Hello.
Yeah, but there's nothing that you.
People go there all the time. There even joy flights over Antarctica.
That's why we need that flat Earth millionaire. Just rent a fucking plane and fly over it. You know that's all he needs to do.
He's just 100 He's not a millionaire.
Trust him either, but yeah, if he's a millionaire, you can do so many things.
You're
cutting out Jeremy.
Me and
Jeremy,
Veach are
you're
going
dying.
across Antarctica. No, me and Veach are going across Antarctica soon, I think he said.
Good luck with that.
We just got to figure out how to get a drone to fly in front of us so we don't crash into the container wall.
Debbie, hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm awesome. How are you?
Good. It's lovely to see you here.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
It has.
So how you been?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, me too.
So did you guys concede
We have a
yet
Bible
that you
study
can't
VC now, Debbie.
Yeah, and we meet there twice a week.
What were you trying to say, Jeremy?
I'll say, did you guys concede yet that you can't manipulate time or what?
Hang on.
What?
Well, summertime and winter time.
You can measure time.
In which context are we trying to manipulate it?
I literally just manipulated milk in the microwave for about a minute. So yes, I did manipulate time, Jeremy.
Yes, he sped up the time it took to heat up the milk.
Dude, everyone knows you can't manipulate time. Stop being silly.
Jeremy?
I don't know why you guys are trying to die.
I did. I told the microwave to do something for a certain amount of time, and it did it for that amount of time. So I did manipulate time.
Or did you
Yeah, that's
manipulate
not what they meant, of course.
He manipulated the duration of which something happened. Therefore, he did manipulate time.
You're silly. You guys are silly.
Go and show me that I'm wrong, then, Jeremy.
Dude, you can't manipulate time. You push
hang on.
some numbers on them, right? You push some numbers. You push some numbers.
Hang on. I got this. So what about the chicken that I put in the freezer 3 months ago? It still hasn't gone off. What's going on there?
You froze chicken and you think you manipulated time by freezing chicken?
I manipulated how long the chicken's taking to decay by putting it in the freezer and retarding the decay of it. So that's manipulation of time.
3 months
I'm
is
pretty sure.
you might want to use that pretty soon. You might want to use that pretty soon.
Oh no, chicken will last up to 6 months in the freezer.
I've got another good example, Jeremy, of manipulating time.
Dude, your examples are shit. Sorry, but I've been going through this all day.
Decaying process is all you did. You just preserved it. That's all you did.
What do you mean you've been going through this all day?
I went through it for an hour with you guys earlier. You can't
Hey, Jeremy, hey, Jeremy, what do clocks measure, Jeremy? What do clocks measure?
Time.
Can you measure a concept?
Sure. We do it all the time, every day, millions of times a day.
Really? I don't think you can measure concepts. I think the fact that you can measure time means that it's real.
Well, do you think length, height, and width is a concept?
They're real. They're physical. Length, height, and width is physical.
It is? Mail me some height.
You already lost, Brendan.
Mail me some height. Just height.
Height is a concept.
Yeah, no shit.
But that doesn't mean that something that's 3 feet tall isn't 3 feet tall just because I have a concept of something being 3 feet tall. Do you know the difference between the ideas in your head and reality?
You just said it's real and it's physical. Now you're saying it's a concept. Which one is it?
Something that's 3 feet tall, that's real and physical, right? Well, what's the difference between
the thing itself? But height alone is not. It's just a concept. Not physical.
The concept is referring to the reality, which is physical.
Yeah.
Oh,
so this actually, I've got this question to pose to. Do you want us to actually slow down time, or to give variables to time?
The only thing you can do with time is control the amount of time that passes. It's literally the only thing you can do with time.
Answer my question. Do you want us to slow down
would you say
it takes minute 10?
What's up, Waz?
Would you say a concept without measurements is further from reality than a concept with measurements?
I don't know about that one.
Why not?
We'll name one. Give me some examples and shit.
A concept
or is it like
without measurements. A concept without measurements.
Yeah, give me what's an example.
Flat Earth.
Yeah, very funny one.
That's true.
Don't have any measurements.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Jeremy, there's a difference between your ideas about things and the things themselves. So my idea of height is different than the fact that things do have the height. It doesn't make it not real.
You ever seen a plane, Jeremy?
Ultimate manipulation of time is someone ending your life prematurely.
You're not manipulating time when you kill someone. You're just killing someone. You guys are delusional. That's what the main issue is here.
Do you want to put money on that, Jeremy?
Define time then. Define time, because space-time is, of course, different from Earth-time, right?
What'd you say, Curve?
Independent variable. Concept. Is that natural or man-made?
What, an IV?
Yeah.
That's man-made. We made that up.
Is this useful for science?
An IV, it's necessary. I mean, if you're going to do an experiment and it's absolutely necessary, yeah.
So if it's necessary, then you'll accept it, regardless of whether it's natural or man-made.
The IV, I mean,
objective view, it's necessary.
The IV is necessary for an experiment, yeah.
Is there any experiment you can do?
About that?
Sorry, correct. Go on.
I'm done.
Okay.
I don't know where you're going with that, Curve.
Is there, Jeremy? Is there any experiment you can do where you measure time, or with a stopwatch, let's say? That you would consider a scientific experiment.
Where you're measuring time? Sure, time can be your control variable. Absolutely, you can Control the amount of time that passes. That's all you can do with time is control the amount of time that passes.
Okay, and that makes it a valid scientific experiment.
No, that makes it a control variable. If you have the time as your independent variable, we know you can't manipulate time, and we know you need to manipulate the independent variable.
Why do you need to manipulate it though?
Why do I need to what?
Why do you need?
That's fine. Go on.
Sorry, yeah, finish yours off. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, that's okay. Can you do an experiment where you time how long it takes for something to happen? Would that be a scientific experiment?
Give me an example.
You boil eggs, and you boil one for 2 minutes, and then you boil another one for 5 minutes. And your experiment is, what does that do? How do you get a hard-boiled or a soft-boiled egg?
So, is there a boiling egg theory, or?
Yeah, the theory is that if you boil it for 5 minutes or more, it becomes hard-boiled or something.
So you legit got a egg boiling theory?
I'm just trying to understand what you mean by time not being independent or dependent variable. I'm just trying to get your understanding. Can I do an experiment where I use time as a measurement, and it still be considered a scientific experiment? So in this example,
if you have it as a control variable, sure. Maybe a dependent variable. I'm not sure, because you're looking for you're looking for the cause of an effect. So I don't think you're going to find the cause of time, but.
Okay.
So I don't think it could be a dependent or independent variable, honestly.
Okay. What if I was looking how something decays? I leave an apple out on the table for 2 weeks, and then I leave another one for 3 weeks.
I feel like in that experiment, time would be a control variable, because you're going to control the amount of time that you.
Control variable. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So does that invalidate my experiment because I'm not manipulating?
If time is your independent variable in the experiment, then yes, it's absolutely invalid.
Invalid. All right. Okay.
If time is your independent variable, if it's the control variable, then that's fine.
Well,
you can control
all I'm
the
doing
amount
is
of time.
all I want to know is how things decay over time.
Well, time's not going to be the cause of that.
I'm not saying it's going to be the cause of that, but I want to know how long it takes for an apple to decay completely, or how long it takes for it to reach a certain stage in its decay.
All right.
Yeah. So I am controlling.
Is this a real thing, or?
I'm just trying to give you an example to work out how you can have time as part of your scientific experiment and it's still being an experiment.
Sure, I'm not saying time can't be part of an experiment.
Right.
I'm just saying it can't be the independent variable, because you can't manipulate it. We're not Dr. Strange, or we don't have Bill and Ted's phone booth.
So if you control how long something stays on the table, how long your apple is sitting on the table before you end your experiment, what are you manipulating?
I don't know. Is this a real experiment, or did you just make this up?
I made this up as a scenario. Probably is. Yeah. There's people who study decay.
So you got an apple sitting on the table, and you're trying to figure out how long it takes to decay?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to see the whole shebang and let you know what I think about it. What's the natural observed phenomena?
Apples decaying.
All right. What's your hypothesis?
That it takes 2 weeks for them to fully decay.
That's your hypothesis? That's not a hypothesis.
Why not?
Your hypothesis is a presupposition of what's going to happen. It's an educated guess. You need to have the.
Well, that's what hypothesis is. What would you suggest?
Yeah, you stated. Well, I mean, you in your hypothesis, you said the apple takes 2 weeks to decay. So why are we going to even do the experiment if you already know?
I don't know.
How about that? You want to verify it.
Doesn't the apple oxidize? Doesn't the
Confirm
apple
or deny.
oxidize? So therefore, it wouldn't be time that is causing the decay. That it would be the oxidation.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
time's
you're
involved.
gonna.
It'll take, well, it's not going to happen all as you're watching it, are you? So it needs to happen over a couple of weeks.
Over a controlled amount of time.
You
Yeah,
have time
absolutely.
lapse on it.
Again, what happens if you put that same apple in the fridge, or you put a similar apple, you buy one at the same time as the other one you've left on the bench, and then put the other one in the fridge?
So what?
Which one's going to go bad first?
Are you guys saying that time is the cause? I mean, the same
No,
goes for
everyone.
decay.
I think
Some
everyone here
type of
knows
animal
time.
out there decaying.
No, not saying that at all.
Well, sounds like that's what you're implying. I don't know.
Well, if you want, we can go back to my astronomy example from last night, Jeremy, where I made a prediction that Mars would be in a certain spot in the sky from where I am on a certain date. So I have to wait until that date. And then I can, once I've seen Mars on that date, if I can see it, then I can use, as I said, the data that I've gotten from that observation and predict when it's going to be in
You
that
got Mars
same
up your
spot
date?
again.
Okay, but
Gotta have a
that's
date
not
in
an
mind.
experiment, though, right?
Say again?
I said that's not an experiment, though, right?
Well, it's observable, it's repeatable, and it's testable. So yeah,
No,
it does
it's not
count.
a scientific. It's not a scientific
Because
test,
I'm
though,
looking
right?
because I'm looking at the sky, right? It makes it non-scientific. Is that what you're saying?
What's your independent variable?
Time.
What's your dependent and independent variable? No, time is not
My
an independent variable.
It
just went
is. I'm
through
not
it.
arguing that. So the dependent variable is my location on Earth, and the independent variable is the time that I'm going to see Mars at the location that I picked to see it from. So yeah.
Hold on. Your location on Earth is your dependent variable. We're trying to find out the cause for your location on Earth.
No, not at all. I'm
That's
trying to
what
figure
your
out when.
dependent variable.
No, stop. I'm trying to figure out when Mars is going to be in a certain spot in the sky on a certain date. That's the experiment.
You're making
So what's your dependent variable? The effect that we're trying to figure out the cause of.
What?
Well, Debbie just said it. I'm making a prediction of when Mars is going to be in the sky and visible to us. So
Cool.
why
So what's
can't I
your
use
dependent-
any of
what's your-
your?
That's just a prediction, though. That's just a prediction.
So
What's your dependent variable in this Mars
He
thing?
just
So what,
told
can't-
you
so
it's his
you
position
can't-
on the planet.
Cause and effect.
Yeah, this is.
The location of Mars is
That's
the
not
dependent
science.
variable.
So, sounds like there's a confusion about what independent variables mean, and
Yeah,
I keep hearing this
The
cause and
confusion just
effect.
goes. Yeah, confusion goes much deeper than that.
I'm not confused. These guys are confused. I agree.
Well, you're telling me that I can't look at the sky and make a prediction, which
No,
you know,
I told you.
can do.
I never said that. That's a
problem
literal.
here,
You
guys,
just
is-
straw man.
The problem
You
here,
straw
guys, is
man
you're presupposing that Jeremy's not a twat.
Yeah, that's a bit.
Very funny. Very funny.
No, that is the big presupposition, though. That's the key
Hey,
one.
Jeremy, why don't you use your
You're
human
right.
shield in chemo?
Because according to Jeremy, all hypotheses are presupposition, therefore they're not valid. So you can't have a single experiment of any type whatsoever.
Yeah.
None.
Exactly.
Because anything you
you
think
can.
of is a presupposition,
Exactly.
therefore it's disqualified.
Thank you, Bizarre.
It's an educated guess on what the cause of the effect is. What do you mean?
And because it has to
Jeremy.
have a cause and effect, it's not an experiment unless there's a cause and effect. You can't just count something because counting things isn't.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that doesn't count, sorry, Jeremy.
You can't catalogue anything. You can't observe anything. These are all invalid experiments.
Yeah, no.
Or it could be that Jeremy's just a fucking idiot.
I applaud that comment. It's not even an ad hom, it's a fact.
That's too far, guys.
But
So we
don't
all
calm down.
agree.
Don't let me stop you having your fun with him.
Do we all?
Yeah,
so
but
we-
he thinks,
yeah.
he thinks
we all-
prematurely stopping someone's life is not manipulating the amount of time they had on Earth.
Oh,
Come on,
it's not
Nick.
manipulating time itself, though. Sure, you're manipulating the time they had on Earth, but you're not manipulating
There you go.
time.
Thank you for admitting that.
You said that you've manipulated the time they've had on Earth. You failed.
Yeah,
Come on, Nick. Shut this down, Nick.
That's not the same thing as manipulating time. Come on, guys, don't be idiots.
Then you define what you mean manipulating.
Seriously, Jeremy, you're telling other people not to do
I
this.
defined it earlier.
You're really
I could
going,
define it again.
You're really going with that argument, huh? Telling
You
other
want me
people
to
not
define it
It's
again? Hold
wiggle
on.
it, jiggle it. It's wiggle
Wow.
it, jiggle it, sleeping warrior.
If your
says.
life expectancy is
wiggle it
72
just a
years
little
and you die at 52, the time of your life was manipulated.
The time of your life, yes, not time. Time itself. I
That
can
is-
manipulate the time and. You
See,
can't
this is your
manipulate-
misunderstanding of time then.
No, you can't. You can't manipulate time itself. You can manipulate the time that somebody has to live. Sure.
That's a manipulation of time.
Of the person's time of their life, not time itself.
That's what it means.
Yeah, but time, what it means with the time you mean is based upon our rotation of the Earth.
Jeremy, no, that's
No,
simply what it means.
not.
To manipulate time is to manipulate the amount of time you give to the experiment. That's what it means.
No, you're
Whatever you think it
controlling.
means is just
You're controlling.
stupid. No, it's
You're
just
controlling
stupid.
the-
That's what it means,
He's
Jeremy.
talking about
You're
time
controlling the
dilation.
amount of time. You're not manipulating it. It's a control variable at this
Jeremy,
point. You're
it's the
controlling the
same
amount of
goddamn
time.
thing.
Jeremy's
the same,
talking about
so you
being a
think
time
it
lord
is
and
the
actually
same
going back and
thing.
forward
You think
in
a control
time. And
variable and a independent variable is the same thing? That's stupid.
Yes,
If you
a
die
control variable is a
before
type
you
of
were
independent
time,
variable, yes.
that changed the
Jeremy?
variable. Means it was
Jeremy?
manipulated, correct?
I didn't hear you.
Jeremy, look up a control variable. It's a type of independent variable.
No, it's a control variable.
No, it is.
Yeah. A control variable is a control variable, and an independent variable is an independent variable. A control variable is an
You're
independent
just
variable.
wrong again. You're just wrong again, Jeremy. You can choose to learn or you can choose to remain ignorant. The choice is yours.
Learn what? You don't even know what you're talking about. How am I going to learn?
Hey, Jeremy, can I just
By reading,
change?
like everybody else did.
I read that the independent variable is the cause, and it has to be manipulated. And a control variable is something you control and hold steady. It doesn't change. You don't manipulate it.
Jeremy, can you
Yes,
give
I
us
know.
an example of
But that's
from
part of the
start to
independent
finish
variable.
of a scientific experiment in your view?
Can't.
What's that?
Can you give us an example of a scientific experiment in your view, how you understand it?
Sure. We have our natural observed phenomena. We're going to go with water boiling, right? We go to a hot spring or something, Yellowstone Park. We'll see water boiling, and now I'm like, I wonder what causes water to boil, because we're trying to find the cause of the effect. So the effect, the dependent variable, would be water boiling. So now I'm gonna take it to the lab, and I'm gonna make a hypothesis. Right, I'm gonna say feathers cause water to boil. I'm gonna add some feathers, and that didn't work. And we'll go through a whole bunch of stuff. Eventually, I'm gonna come to heat. I'm gonna say, let's say heat makes water boil. So I'm gonna make that my independent variable. Then I'm gonna make pressure my control variable, the air pressure. And we're gonna do the
how do you
experiment.
manipulate? Hang on. How do you
You want
manipulate
the
the air
hypothesis?
pressure? How do you manipulate the air pressure?
I
No,
just
how
said
do
it.
you manipulate the air pressure?
Say it again. I didn't hear you the first 3 times. It's the control variable, not the independent variable.
All right. So, do they make predictions about when they think the geyser at Yellowstone National Park is Old Yeller? I think it's called. Do they predict when it's going to go off?
Who cares? What's with this
I do.
non-sequitur
Well,
bullshit?
why do you think I asked the question?
Non-sequitur.
Why do you
It's
think I asked?
non-sequitur.
Do they predict it or not, Jeremy? Yes or no?
I don't. That's of no interest to me. It's non sequitur.
Well, you failed in your experiment. Then you failed in your scientific fucking usage of your experiment. If they don't make predictions on when Old Yeller's going to explode, then how do they know? Like I'm pretty sure they've got a timer there that guesses when it's going to happen next, don't they? Can anyone? I'll look it up. Hang on.
Dude, you're talking
don't
about
think
a
they're gonna
guy.
tell
I'm
us
talking about a
anyways.
fucking hot
They're just gonna
spring. This
let the
has
motherfucker
nothing.
blow. They
This
ain't
has
gonna tell us.
nothing to do with anything we're even talking about.
They don't care about us.
This
They
doesn't
don't
even have
predict-
anything to do with talking about?
It does. It absolutely does.
We're done.
No, it does
Game
because
over.
I'm using time to predict when Mars is going to be in the sky. So explain to me again how we can't use it to predict things.
I didn't say you can't use time to predict things. I said it can't be your independent variable in a scientific experiment.
Okay, so how do I pick what time I'm going to look in the sky then?
I don't give a fuck. Whatever you're doing has nothing to do with a scientific experiment.
Well, again there, Jeremy. You don't give a fuck. So why are we even talking?
Nothing to do with an experiment. So who gives a fuck?
Well, you're the one that's failing in this whole endeavor here. If you don't give a fuck, you really should. Because that's what scientists give a fuck
about. Your obfuscation.
Yell and yell, Jeremy. Yeah, that's the way. Get triggered and yell at me. Go on. Nice one.
I'm not triggered, but you're just nonsense.
You're becoming Witsit now.
Or you're just speaking nonsense, bro.
No, I'm not speaking nonsense. No, you just don't like the fact that you're wrong and you're getting angry about that.
I'm not wrong, no. I'm not
wrong. You
are wrong. How am I wrong?
Well, you usually are. 99% of the time.
Why don't you explain it to me? Explain it to me in detail.
So I need to know when to look in the sky from where I live to find Mars. I make a prediction and I'm going to do that.
Hold on a second. Just so we're clear, is this an experiment?
Well, according to you, it's not because I'm looking at the sky.
But you think this is an experiment, right?
Well, it's observable, repeatable, and testable. So yes.
Scientifically, a scientific test, like as an experiment, or?
Yep.
Okay. Is your dependent variable your location on Earth, like you said 5 minutes ago, or did you change it since then?
Yeah,
you don't even know what you're talking about, bro.
All right, I'm going to stop talking to you because you're triggered. Have a good one.
Well, dude, it's like you're trying to talk to a bro. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Hey, Jeremy, quick question. If you do not change the position in which you're standing, does that not make it dependent upon where you are?
If you change the position on where you're standing,
if you don't change it, does that mean it's then dependent on where you are standing?
If I don't change the position I'm standing,
yeah,
does it change my location?
Because it's controlled.
Yeah, it depends on where you're standing. Dependent. So if I wanted to do the experiment in Sydney, I'd have to travel from my hometown to Sydney to do it, wouldn't I?
So your dependent variable, you're still going to go with your location on Earth.
The location is the dependent variable.
Your location on Earth is your dependent variable.
Yes, because if you're not in that location, you won't see the thing going over your fucking head.
You realize that's the natural observed phenomena, right? Is the dependent variable?
Yeah, you're halfway there. Yep.
So now we're trying to find
the natural phenomenon is the place in which you are standing.
So now we're trying to figure out the cause of that natural observed phenomena, right?
Why? That's not the experiment that you're doing.
That's what you do in a scientific.
No, that's not at all what I'm doing, Jeremy. I'm just trying to figure out when Mars is going to be in the sky in a certain spot at a certain time of year. That's the experiment.
Okay, so what if your dependent variable is your location on Earth? That's not what you're doing then, because now you're trying to figure out the cause. Hold on 1 second. Now you're trying to figure out the cause of your location on Earth. This is nonsense.
The fuck did you make that conclusion? You dumb fuck.
Yeah, where did you get that from? That's not at all what we're doing.
Can you all just remain calm, please?
I can't. I'm too triggered, bro. I'm dealing with maniacs.
Jeremy, how do you get any work done while you're arguing with us?
Fruitcake.
Oh, I'm mopping the floor right now. It's easy peasy.
So say you were to hang on. So say you were to catch a bus, right? Is the bus stop not the dependent variable on where you catch the bus from?
What's your natural observed phenomenon with this bus thing?
Is the bus stops at that bus stop every day?
That's your all right. So we got the bus stop. So what's your dependent variable?
Is the bus stop.
So we're trying to figure out the cause of the bus stop now.
If you're at that bus stop, the bus will stop there so you can get on it.
Yeah, no, Jeremy's trying to put the QE thing onto
Debbie,
this
do you
where
want
you've
to
got to
take
try and
over with
figure out
this?
the
I don't think I can do this
Hang on,
anymore.
Jeremy,
Go
I
ahead.
was speaking. No, what you're trying to do is the QE thing where you're trying to find the cause
I
of
need a
everything.
bat to my
We're not
head
trying
right
to find.
now.
Debbie, shut up. We're not trying to figure out, what Mars is doing. We're trying to figure out where it's going to be in a certain spot in the sky at a certain time. That's it. We're not trying to figure out what caused it to get there. We're just trying to figure out when it's going to be there.
Then you're not doing an experiment, a scientific experiment.
Scientific method is cause and effect. Oh my god!
According to the bus is late, it is an
It's not an
experiment.
experiment.
Yeah, does it mean that the bus was manipulated if the bus comes late?
Sounds more like a study of the sky. Observation.
Just keep saying
the sky-
words, Debbie. Just keep saying words.
Is the sky no longer natural and observable anymore? When did that happen? I didn't get that memo.
It is observable.
Right, so we can do an experiment with it then, can't we? If we can observe it and experiment and look at it and test when Mars is going to be in a certain spot in the sky, figure out what time it's going to be there. That's what we were doing. We're not trying to figure out the cause of why Mars is in that spot at that time of year, are we? We know why that happened. That's an orbit.
Yeah.
And you're not doing a scientific experiment of a naturally observed phenomena. You're doing a
The
prediction.
sky's natural and observable, isn't it, Rakia? Did we not just
You're
cover
doing
this?
a
The sky
prediction.
Rakia, the sky is
You're doing
natural
a
and
prediction.
observable. Yes or no?
Yes, but you're
Observable and
doing a
natural. Yes or no?
prediction.
Yes. So, yep, no, that's fine. Thank you. You said yes. It's
Why do you
observable and
think you
natural.
win?
Therefore, we
You're
can
doing a
experiment on it.
prediction.
Why is there
Well,
this obsession
how
with
do you
cause
how do you make a prediction?
Why are you turning
Because when
around
you
me?
do
It's your dumbass argument.
This is a dumbass argument, I gotta say.
Yeah. Right.
It's not our obsession with cause and effect. In a scientific experiment, the dependent
I'm not trying to
variable
figure
is
out the cause and effect of why Mars is in the sky.
Why are you so triggered?
I'm
Why
interrupted
are
in the
you
middle of
so
your
triggered? Because you're wrong?
No, because Jeremy's being an idiot.
You're
Oh,
I'm
be
not
careful,
triggered at all.
Racky. You might get doxed again, mate. Be careful.
Did you miss the bit where I'd said I'm not talking to him because he's going to be triggered? And I came back to talking to him, so I suppose it's my fault.
Yeah, that's dumb for you to say that.
I'm getting triggered because I'm dealing with people that have Dunning-Kruger on like a huge level.
I just love how
level
dumb, like he's like 6. That's dumb. You're dumb. You dumb.
That's what you're doing, man.
When you do a science, I can't even go on with this because I mean you guys aren't grasping it.
Pretty sure you're the one that's not grasping it.
No, I don't understand. Yeah, I'm the one that can't
It
grasp
seemed
it.
pretty clear and crisp on his idea.
Only because you subscribe to the same podcast of
Scientific method of natural phenomena has nothing to do with
according to
QE.
QE and Oakley.
It's not
your-
QE's method.
It is QE's method, nobody else's,
It is
to be honest.
exactly It is absolutely QE's method.
Do you think a natural phenomenon's a scientific method?
No,
It's a part of the scientific method.
No. That's just an observation, right?
It's the first step,
Yeah,
sir.
Wait.
The hypothesis don't come first.
No,
as I've heard
we're not even
in some
making a
cases.
hypothesis. You see something, it happened. That's it.
That's the first step, the observation. We're wondering what the heck is going on with the natural
Repeat the
phenomenon
same car
itself.
crash.
Did you Australian people just wake up, or are you going to bed, or like what's happening over there?
It's midday.
Jeremy,
Oh,
are you
God.
that dumb?
We're stuck with you for the rest of the night now. Shit.
Yep.
Where's Waz? He's got like
Yeah, the
Australia
rush
is
is
approximately 17 hours. Yeah, Jeremy, Australia's about 17 hours ahead of you.
Yeah, we're in the future.
Yeah, you're manipulating time. I know.
Well, I mean, I've gone back in time, technically.
The convention of time, that's nothing.
If you go to Fiji, you
imagine
can
that.
actually go back in time, yes.
That's the that's the measurement of time. The convention, not the actual time itself.
So when I went from Sydney to Thailand and my watch went, and my phone clock went back a few hours, that's not going back in time?
Hang on, what do you mean by actual time?
Are you really serious with that, or
Did
are
you
you
get
messing
younger,
with, are you
sir?
trolling me?
Did you get younger, sir?
I'm saying
I've got a question. What do you mean by actual time?
Then you
Are you
just
talking
manipulate time.
Are you talking about the arrow of time?
We're not when I say manipulate time, we're not talking about changing the numbers on a clock.
The amount of time that
Are you talking about the arrow of time, the fact that it always moves forward and never goes backwards? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, I think that's what you're getting at.
Time, yes.
Answer the fucking question, you manipulative little shit. Are you talking about the arrow of time or the measurement of time?
If your boy didn't talk over me, I would have got the whole thing out. So I don't know why you're yelling at me because he talked over in the middle of my sentence.
Continue to yell at you until you answer the question. Is it the arrow of time or the measurement of time that you want to manipulate?
I didn't hear you the first 4 times. Ask me one more time. I'm talking about the arrow of time, the media, where all events happen, the passage of events.
Are you talking about causation then?
What?
Causation. You know what causation is, right?
Why did you say that one word? What is it? What? So what? Causation, then what? Is that your whole sentence?
Duration to duration. In other words, there's a measurable duration between events. That's causation.
Causation of what?
Oh, fuck.
Causation of what? Causation of what?
That's what I'm explaining. So when I went from Sydney to Thailand, I caused myself to be not in Sydney anymore. And I actually, when I landed in Thailand, I had to change the time on the clock because I'd gone back around Thailand hadn't reached where I was in Australia.
You didn't change time, sir. You changed your watch.
I changed time zone. No, I changed where I was. No, I changed where I was on Earth, as a matter of fact. And
but not time.
Went back to their time zone.
And your
their
clock.
Time zone is never the same as the time zone in Australia, is it? Is it? Does Thailand have the same time zone?
Or a man-made construct also.
Time in Thailand match time in Australia.
The convention of time you change. Sure, that's nothing. I can do that all day. That's meaningless. It does nothing.
Yeah, the amount of time that I've aged hasn't changed, but the time in the location that I'm at has, because it hasn't caught up to where I was.
No, it's the same time everywhere, you nincompoop.
No,
it's the same time everywhere.
Not actually.
It is. It's the same fucking time everywhere. Remember Slick James? It's now. Right now, everywhere. It's right now.
Yeah, but half the planet's in darkness.
Who cares? It's still the same time.
No,
if I shut the lights off at my
Jeremy. It's not. It's midday here. It'd be midnight somewhere else, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but he just agreed that we're 17 hours ahead of him when Brian said it.
No,
so it's not the same fucking time, is it?
The convention. You guys are conflating the convention of time with time itself.
Jeremy,
the numbers on your clock.
Causation.
The numbers on your clock that's not time. Do you understand that?
Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand what causation is, Jeremy?
I asked you a question first. Do you understand that the numbers on your clock is not time? Do you understand that?
That's the measurement, yeah?
Yeah, so that's not time.
Okay, so explain to me what time is then.
It's the passing of events.
So it's causation.
Things happen. Causation of time doesn't cause anything.
What?
Time causes nothing.
You sure?
100%. Time causes nothing. Give me something time caused. We've been through this one day. We went through this for
7
hours one day.
Again, with the steaks. We put a steak on the counter. You leave it there for 2 days, it'll go rotten. You put it in the freezer, it'll last longer.
And you
You've
think-
just manipulate.
and
Yeah,
you
you've just
think
manipulated and made the meat last longer. So you've, in effect, manipulated its rate of decay. Congratulations, you've just become a Time Lord.
Time didn't do that.
You're fucking delusional, bro. You think
So time isn't. So the time that it sits there on the bench isn't.
If you slow down the passage of time,
That's just not
yeah,
your
but if you
process
slow
of
the
decay.
passage of time, you have manipulated it. I'm sorry.
You can't slow it down.
If you've slowed the passage of time, you have.
You can't slow down the passes. What are you talking about?
I've slowed down the decay of the meat that's in the freezer.
That's
That
not
means you've
time.
slowed-
That's the
that
decay
is-
of meat.
Yeah, and
slow down
decay
entropy.
Happens over
passage of
time,
time.
which happens
You
over
didn't do
time.
any.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything to
I
time.
have.
Time kept
I've
passing
changed
at
how
the
long.
same
I
rate. No,
have.
you
Time
didn't.
passed
changed.
at the same
You
I have.
slowed
rate.
down the decay.
Jeremy, stop. I have because I've
Exactly.
changed
Time
the
passed
rate
at
of
the same
decay.
exact rate.
No, you
I
didn't.
was talking. I changed the rate of decay of the meat by putting it in the
Yeah,
freezer, didn't
but
I?
not
So I've
time.
changed the time that the meat takes to decay, haven't I?
So
No.
everything to do with
Temperature that's
cryogenics,
causing it.
everything to do with cryogenics is wrong. Then
Time didn't cause. First of all, time doesn't
The
cause
way you
things
think
to
of it,
decay.
yes.
Time doesn't cause things to decay. First of all, you know this, right? Do you know time's not the cause of things
there's this
decaying,
thing
or do
called
you?
radioactive decay.
Does it not take time for something to decay?
Yeah, the passage,
Yeah, it
the
does.
duration, but not the time. Is not the cause.
Go ahead,
But
Rocky. I can't handle
the
it.
meat in the freezer
no,
that's
Can
frozen.
degrade in freezing temperatures. It still can degrade.
But the meat in the freezer that is in the freezer has lasted longer than the meat that was on the bench, hasn't it? There you go.
You're just slowing down the process.
Are you
of
saying
decay
that's
is
a
all you're
win for
doing
you?
by the temperatures.
Yeah, you slow
Well, it
down
is because
entropy, man.
you've
slow down
manipulated.
time.
You've changed the conditions in which the meat decays.
So temperature is your cause.
You can change your
Temperature is
temperature.
your cause,
Yeah.
then?
But it's the
Yeah,
temperature
not time.
that but it's the temperature that it stays at over the course
Yeah,
of time that you've got it in the freezer, isn't it?
So duration at a certain temperature, not
Where's
changing
the other
time.
Globers to chime in on this, so we can get some voice of
Right.
reason in here? For you guys.
What's wrong with us?
You guys
You're
are
finding it
fucking
hard to keep
delusional.
up, Jeremy, or so we're not. No, you're
No
just finding
matter
it
how
hard to
much
keep up because
time
you guys don't
passes,
understand
you won't be
these
smart.
simple concepts. You don't understand
Is
these
there
very
any
simple
other-
concepts, so
other
you have trouble
Globers
with it.
Want to chime in on this? Any of the other Globers that know
You
what's
running?
going on?
Are you joining the bitch harem now, Jeremy? Are you bitching out? Join
Bitching
Chemo.
out?
He's in the corner. Off you go.
Pure
Off you go. Join
nonsense.
Chemo. Yeah, you become my bitch now. Off in the corner with Rakia and Chemo. Off you go.
Can I try and bring this back to reality real quick?
Brian, does time cause the meat to decay?
Why are you talking to Brian?
Who are you?
It's Kale.
Oh, my bad. KO, does time cause the meat to decay?
I don't want to talk about the stupid meat. I want to talk about the independent variable being time real quick, if I can.
Go ahead.
Alright, so a coffee tree gets caught in a fire and some coffee beans get roasted and they fall into a pond and you see the first cup of coffee ever, right? So I have my naturally observed phenomenon, because I know you require that.
Which is coffee?
Yeah, coffee. Alright, so now I want to test the strength of coffee. And my hypothesis is the longer the coffee steeps, the stronger the coffee. With me so far?
No, because when you do an experiment, you're looking for causality. You're looking for the how, the why.
I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm just talking hypothesis. I'll get there.
Okay, your hypothesis is what makes coffee strong? Would you say it
Yeah,
was?
my
bad.
hypothesis is the longer it steeps, the stronger the coffee.
All right.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make 100 cups
steeping
of
brewing?
coffee. Yeah,
Hold
but
on, what's steeping?
yeah, it's brewing.
All right.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make 100 cups of coffee, all exactly the same way. And just measure the strength of the coffee with like a ppm meter or something. Cool?
Okay.
All right,
All
so I
right.
find that this is my control set, and they all come out about the same. So I have my dependent variable, which is what I'm measuring, which is the strength of the coffee. And I have my control variables set up. For these cups of coffee, what would you say is the cause of the cup of coffee?
What's the cause of coffee?
Yeah, in this scenario, what was the cause of the coffee?
You brewed the coffee.
Yeah, so it was everything, right? It was all my controls. It was the temperature of the water, the grind of the beans, the type of beans, the cup, everything I did was the cause of the coffee, right?
I mean, for your experiment, for your dependent variable was, I don't know, this is fucking weird.
Just
like,
go with me. So everything
like
I
do, fucking weird. He's saying like it's like wine over time, that it's concentrated or whatever. It's aging. Is it aging?
Basically, just follow me with Jeremy, right? So I made coffee, and the cause was basically everything. The cup, the water, the temperature, the pressure, the grind, the coffee beans, the whole process was the cause of the cup of coffee, right?
I guess so.
Okay, so now we got a dependent variable, and we have the control set up.
Time? Did you say time was the cause?
Amount of time that passed, everything that I did, every step of that process was the cause of the coffee, all combined, right?
Nah. Did you pick your nose while you were doing it? Is that part of it too, or?
If I did, I made sure to pick my nose every time, so it was still a good control variable.
So picking your nose is the cause, all right.
It's all the cause. That's my point.
Sure,
Every part of it. Okay.
It has nothing to do with elevation.
I said that pressure was the same. All right, so we got everything. I tried to control it as best I could and do everything the same way 100 times. And then I measured the strength of the coffee. Okay? So we have the dependent variable, which is the thing I measure, which is the strength of the coffee. And I have my control variables, which is the shit I left the same every time. So that's everything. The cup, the water, the temperature, the pressure, the beans, all that shit, right?
Sure.
Okay, so now I need to choose an independent variable. So I need to pick one of these things that I will vary, that I expect will change the dependent variable. That's the purpose of an independent variable. It's the thing you change that you expect will have an effect on the dependent variable. Right? You agree with that, don't you?
No. Not at all.
Why don't you agree with that, Jeremy? Because that's exactly what it is.
Of course you don't.
Because you're trying to find the cause of the dependent variable.
No, what you're doing
You're going
is
to systematically manipulate it.
Jeremy,
Listen,
no, you're wrong.
Jeremy, the independent variable is the thing that you change that is the cause of the change in the dependent variable. So you wiggle one thing so that the dependent variable changes. Because I had it all the same the first time around, so the dependent variable didn't change. Now I need to pick one thing, the independent variable, that if I vary that, the dependent variable will change. It's the cause of the change in the dependent variable. That's what the independent variable is.
Okay.
So I'm gonna choose the amount of time that the coffee steeps.
No, you're not. You're choosing the duration.
That's
yeah, okay,
the time, Rocky.
That's fine.
No, it's not. He didn't change time.
No, that's fine. I'm fine with that, Rocky. You can call it duration. I'm totally fine with that because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the amount of time. So that is a duration. That's exactly right.
That's not the amount of time. That's the amount that you let it go through the filter.
Why are you arguing with me on this, Rocky? I'm agreeing with you. I'm not changing the rate that time passes. I'm not manipulating the arrow of time here.
There we go.
I'm changing the duration. Okay.
So you agree you can't do that, right? You can't manipulate how much time passes.
You can manipulate how much time passes while I have the coffee in the water. That's not the rate of time. That's not manipulating time
So
itself.
it's not time, it's how much water is passing through the coffee, right?
No.
We're talking about duration. So this time when I make all these cups of coffee, listen,
Hold
so
on a
these,
second.
now when I make, go ahead.
Go ahead. If you're not manipulating time, then, right, you said you're not manipulating the time?
You're manipulating the amount of water that's going through there.
Rakia, you're not listening. You should go back to whatever you're doing. What I'm manipulating is the duration.
I'm playing poker and wiping the floor with your bogus.
You're manipulating the amount of heat.
Listen,
is
I'm not
getting to
listen,
the
I'm not.
object.
Okay, what I'm saying is that I made this cup of coffee the same way 100 times. Every single part of it was the same. Right? Now the one thing I'm going to change is just how long the grinds are in the water. That's the one thing I'm changing. I'm not manipulating the flow of time itself, simply the duration that the grinds are in the coffee. That is it.
Okay,
So one thing I'm changing. Duration, exactly. Duration of time that the grinds are in the hot water. That's it. So in this experiment,
so you're hold on. So you're manipulating how much heat and hot water
stays on an object for how long?
but listen, we just went over this. The first time I did it, it had all that shit. It had the heat, it had the time, it had the cup, it had the pressure, it had every fucking thing. And all of those together were the cause of the cup of coffee. Not one thing individually was the cause of the coffee, right?
Just real quick. Can you manipulate time?
You can manipulate duration, the amount of time. You cannot manipulate time itself. I don't think anybody is arguing that you can manipulate time itself.
No one ever has.
So you can control the amount of time that passes in your experiment.
Well, when you say control, you're getting confused.
Okay.
When you say control, you're getting confused with what a control variable is, which is something that you keep the same. In what you're saying here in this context, control means to change it. So if I'm changing it, if I'm controlling it in order to change it, then it's an independent variable, not a control variable. You're conflating those two terms. So in this experiment, my independent variable is the duration. My controls are literally everything else. And all of that together is the cause of the cup of fucking coffee. But the independent variable is the thing that I changed.
The type of coffee, how dark it is or whatnot. Is that what you're talking about? Because you're trying to compare.
My dependent variable was just the strength of the coffee. I'm just going to take a parts per million meter and I'm stick it in the water and see how many TDS.
Yeah, but that'll change if you use cold water or hot water. It depends on what you're using as well. There's different things to go into account for that, not just time.
That's why I'm leaving all of those exactly the same. I'm leaving all that the same. The same cup, same temperature, same pressure, same water, same grind, same beans, same everything. But I'm changing the duration that the beans are in the water, and that's it. So when we talk about time being an independent variable, we're not talking about controlling the arrow of time itself. We're talking about duration. So you can use duration as an independent variable because that's the one thing that you vary that has an effect on the dependent variable, which is the thing you're measuring.
Yeah, but it can't be time that's causing that. It has to be something
else. But that's my point. It's not the independent. But that's the point. The independent variable is not the cause of the coffee. The independent variable is just the thing you change that is the cause of the change in the dependent variable. Because we went over this before I even had an independent variable. The cause of the coffee was all of the controls combined. There is no individual piece that is the cause of the coffee. So the independent variable is not the cause of the coffee. That's not how that works. The IV is the cause of the change in the DV. And that's it. All your other controls combined to be the cause of that thing.
And the fact that you don't realize that is why we laugh at you.
Yeah.
That's the essential problem. They're talking about the independent variable being the cause of the phenomena. But that's not the case. The change in the IV is the cause of the change in the DV. Everything else, all of the controls and every other thing around it is the cause of the phenomena. That's not what we're looking for, is the cause of the phenomena. We're looking for the cause in the change in the dependent variable that we're measuring. That's it.
Well, when you do a scientific experiment, though, you're looking for the cause of the phenomena.
No, you're looking for the cause of the thing you're measuring.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, really?
That wasn't me.
You're trying to get a cause and effect relationship between the change in the IV and the change in the DV. That doesn't mean that the independent variable is the sole cause of this cup of coffee. It's not how that works.
There's no way to speed up the There's no way, shape, form to speed up the process to make it quicker.
Well, I don't know. That would be another experiment. We could fuck with some of the other control variables, have a second experiment. We could go farther, but that's not what we're doing here.
Was the experiment the strength of the cup of coffee or just the cup of coffee?
The strength of the cup of coffee.
Okay, and if you held heat to it, it's duration, but heat. It's heat that is the cause.
One of the
but all of
No,
these
it's
things
steeping. No, it's all controlled. It's steeping in a pot. So the temperature is the same because you've poured it out of the same vessel that you had the water in. So that water is going to be the same temperature all the way through, isn't it?
If you want to ask
time is something that is made up.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
If you want to ask what the cause of the coffee is, you would have to literally include everything. The beans are the cause. The grind is the cause.
We're
the
asking
water
the cause
is
of
the cause.
the strength, I thought, not the cup of coffee.
That's just the dependent variable. And that's what I'm trying to explain here. The IV and the DB is the correlation we're looking for, but not the sole cause of the coffee.
I think where they're really getting tripped up, Phil, is this thing where they say an experiment has to be looking for the cause of whatever effect it is you're looking at. That's a problem.
It's not the case. We're looking for the independent variable.
It's just like
is
the meat you
cause
gave
of the
earlier. There's
change in the dependent
microorganisms that break down the meat and bacteria that cause the meat to go bad. That's the cause.
Don't
not
go off the
time.
coffee. Don't go off the coffee. He's saying that if you
similar to
stop
the
the
meat,
brewing process, that's stopping time, and he's wrong. It's not. You can't
Who
stop
said
time.
any of that? Who said
You're
that?
stopping
You
the
straw
water.
manning.
No one said that.
No, I'm not.
No one
That's
said
what
that,
he's
Rocky.
saying,
Don't.
man.
No one's
You're not
no
manipulating
one said
time,
that.
brother. You're
No, you just
manipulating how
you
much
just
water
don't
is
You're
going
not
in the
understand.
brew.
No,
listening,
you
man.
just don't
You shut
understand
up
what's
and go
being
back to
said.
your game.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, concentrate
easy.
on one
I
thing or
can-
the other.
I can do this.
You have no idea what you're talking. No, you have no
idea
idea what you're talking
Plus,
about.
I'd like to
So
add
go
that
back to
Phil,
playing
that's
poker.
not Phil's experiment. He probably got it from someone because I've heard it before, and he's just copying it because he just thinks it makes it
That's
sound
what an
smart.
experiment is, isn't it?
He's never original.
Observable,
I'm trying
repeatable,
to
testable.
Post
explain an
Soundly's
experiment to
pictures.
somebody as dumb
He
as you
comes
are,
up with
Rakia.
someone else's explanation of
Rakia,
changing
shut the
time
fuck
when
up
it's
and
not
go back to your
changing
fucking
time.
game, you prick. Nobody wants to hear your bullshit. Fuck off.
Yeah, I know y'all hate it.
I hate you. Your bullshit is what I hate. You're a
Yeah,
fucking
you
gimp.
hate when you hate when you're exposed.
I was exposed for being exactly right, so thank you very much, Rakia. You're a retard, and I explained it perfectly.
So you can
Fuck off
Phil
the game.
KO can
See,
manipulate time.
everyone
So
in the
stop
room
it
understood
then.
it, but
Stop
the
time.
flat earthers. That's part of the problem.
Yeah,
So
'cause y'all
explain this why
biased.
we can
Of
understand it,
course
but
you're
you
gonna
guys
go along
don't.
with what he's saying. Yeah.
You immediately
No,
straw manned
we
my
can.
position.
Well,
You said I was
the thing,
stopping the full time. You immediately
and the thing
straw
is,
manned my
Rakia,
fucking position.
yeah, and the thing is, we can repeat Phil's experiment, all of us, if he tells us what he's done, gives us the temperatures that he used for the water, gives us the exact place where he got the beans from, gives us the exact type of beans. If he gives us all that data, we can do the exact same experiment. So we can, in fact, repeat this experiment.
I would just like to know if Jeremy was listening and what he thinks about what I said. Are you there, Jeremy?
Can y'all please tell me how to manipulate time? Because I'm getting a massage for how much do you charge? $1 a minute?
Did you listen? Did you listen?
For $1 a minute. So if you can
Rakia,
manipulate time for me, I can
Rakia,
save a lot of money.
Moron. I said it very clearly. We're not manipulating the flow of time itself. We're talking about duration. We went over this. Open your fucking ears or shut the fuck up. That's all I got. Thank you.
That was very rude.
Ricky is rude.
Yeah, it happens when you.
Becky. Get off your high horse.
Fuck you, Kurt.
You
That was rude, Becky. You wouldn't want to do that, Becky.
See, no matter how much it happens, I'm gonna have to pay $1 a minute as time passes. You can't do anything about it.
These bitches don't even know what curve's about.
I didn't know Rakia was a bitch.
Shut the fuck up. Who called me a
I
bitch?
get your experiment and the duration and all the bullshit, but it's still duration is a man-made concept of time, and it could be 48 hours in a day if you wanted to make it that way, and then an experiment goes completely different. But the point is, you're literally trying to manipulate something that is a man-made concept it's not real. You cannot manipulate something that is man-made and not real.
Changing the measurement doesn't. Changing the length of the measurement doesn't change the actual length of time.
Exactly. So you cannot manipulate time.
So that shows that you're wrong. Time is a real thing that happens. That doesn't mean our measurement could be like 1 second could be 10 times longer. It wouldn't matter. We just measure it differently.
Oh, it would matter
Our
to that
units are
meat and it would matter to that coffee, so you're incorrect.
Nope.
Also, the duration doesn't matter now how long it's there. 48 hours, 12 hours. You're full of shit.
The length
Your
of the
coffee
unit
would be
doesn't
cold
matter.
if you waited that long.
The length of the unit has nothing to do with it.
There would be a different answer.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So
it's
that
made
means
up.
Stacy, that means every measurement we ever do. Your argument is that every measurement that we ever take in the history of humankind doesn't matter because it's just a man-made thing, which is fucking ridiculous.
When you're trying to manipulate time itself, it's impossible.
Time passes whether you
There's
measure
other
it or
things that
not.
cause the reactions that you are literally looking into in these experiments. It has
Yeah,
nothing
listen,
to do with the concept you made
Stacy,
of your time to this
Time
reality.
will pass whether you measure it or not.
Exactly. There's just now, right? And there's what's
No.
coming in behind me. Yeah, you can measure that. You could try to put it, but you're making up your own calculation.
You,
So
you
you're
just-
manipulating your own
You
calculations.
just broke your
then.
own
Okay.
logic there. Well done.
Yeah, use that logic and bake your cake, Becky.
That was Stacy.
That was Stacy. Get it right.
Yeah, I didn't hear you anyway. It's okay.
Time just is.
He told you to go bake a cake.
The scaling of time is not.
I might just do that.
Time would occur whether we measured it or not. That's the point. It wouldn't change. Our measurement of time doesn't change the passage of time.
And yes,
How
yes,
you measure
Sean
it.
G is correct.
Yeah, you guys need to get
So
that
what are you
point.
saying? You're saying that the time is the cause of this? I mean, so does that mean the amount of
it's the
time
independent
that
variable.
it takes the apple to fall off a tree, that's the cause?
No.
Is the
It's
time?
the independent variable
The
he's using in the
duration.
experiment. He held everything else constant, and it's the only independent variable.
Fruit Loops.
But this is why we struggle to be able to convey an answer to you, because you just sit there and giggle,
It
Stacey.
shouldn't be a struggle. You guys are making up
Well,
shit.
then why did you giggle like a little child?
Because I have to laugh of your beliefs. I'm so sorry. It's not what,
But then
it's what
why
you
did
believe.
you
It's not
even
what I
ask?
experienced.
Why did you
It's
even
total
ask if you
opposite.
weren't going to accept the answer that was going to be
I was
given
just
to
asking
you?
a question. You were the wise man,
And
right?
then you
know
refused
everything.
the answer before it was even said. That's
You
terrible.
know everything. You know everything, right?
I never said that. That's a straw man.
I know everything.
Then where did you get your information from?
Not you.
Experimenting with how long it takes
I'm asking
for
from
coffee to
right.
brew.
So where? Who?
Experimenting on coffee.
Getting that right brew so it keeps you
Or
a nice
waiting for
warm cup
Mars.
of Joe.
Or the whole thing that started it off was me waiting for Mars to appear in the sky at a certain location on Earth at a certain time,
Right. You made a prediction. Wow. Okay.
which is
Just like I'll make
part
a
of it.
prediction. Santa Claus
Which
will
is
be here
which is
every
based
December
on
25th. I'll
observed
make a
phenomena.
And I'll make
Yeah,
a
which-
prediction as well. Santa
Okay,
Claus
yeah,
will
you
coming in
babble on, Debbie,
December
that's
and
fine.
leave gifts
Go
under
ahead.
a tree. Right. Myth.
Yeah, babble
Sorry,
on over
Santa's
the
been
topic.
cancelled. I do
Because that's
repeat,
what
Santa
all you
was
guys are
I'll make a
cancelled.
prediction as well. I'll observe some presents underneath the tree.
Santa was
Yeah.
cancelled. If you haven't got the memo, I think you better speak to your children.
And
Oh,
isn't
why
that the
did
point of an
COVID get to him?
experiment?
Oh, is
No.
he
Isn't
hit by COVID? He's not
No,
coming
no,
to
no.
town
He
this
had a
year?
political
Experiment.
opinion
Okay.
that didn't sit
I'll
right
make
with
a
the right
prediction that he's
crowd.
leaving gifts under a tree, and I'm right and I'm correct. 100%.
No, but
He's
that's the
flying
thing.
around
He had
with
no.
his reindeers
He had a political
sky.
opinion that didn't agree with the left, so Santa got cancelled.
Okay. Black Friday's not canceled, is it?
Well, according to what's been happening with Amazon, if you order a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, you're probably going to get a George Foreman grill.
Okay.
No, the drivers have been opening up the boxes, pulling out the PlayStations
Another
and putting in
tradition,
other
stupid.
products and taping them up again.
Another tradition, so stupid.
So how long you guys been talking to Debbie?
Talking to or at?
It wasn't just me. There was others here. We're having a
Too long
conversation
is
about
the end.
concept of time and
Debbie's
manipulating
been
time.
delightful.
Blah blah blah.
It's a lively discussion.
Because
How-
I've changed.
Debbie, how long have
I'm
you
not
been
cruel
here
like I used to be. 'Cause
today?
you guys
How
used to
long?
be cruel to me. You
How
can
long
tell
have
I've
you?
changed. Oh, in about an hour, maybe a little more.
No, you were here earlier. Way
Yeah,
more
but I
than
was
an
in the
hour
hospital
ago.
visiting my boyfriend. He's in the hospital.
Is this actually like truly Debbie, who I hear about all the time?
Oh yeah.
Yes, Stacy, this is her.
Hi, Debbie. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
I hear about
nice to
people, but
meet
I don't
you.
believe anything they say because a lot of nonsense gets said by people. But yeah, nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
well, I don't know what you heard about me. I hope it's good things. Hope it's good things. I've changed, like, the past couple of years. I've been on Discord a while, and I'm sort of
Yeah.
I want to leave out the derogatory comments and things like that. And it's, to me, it's like, don't shoot the messenger down. And when you come here, it's exactly what they do, and it's, they get triggered and it gets heated. It gets out of hand, and it gets
I
your blood
haven't heard
pressure
anything
going.
bad about you unless it's from them talking shit, like comparing me to you or something like that. But normally on our side, what I hear is you get treated, or you did get treated like shit. So I'm glad to see you here.
Yeah, over, I don't know, I guess the past few months, 6 months, I don't know. They've been sort of nice. Everybody's been nice. But I don't like the way
Really?
they treat the other flat earthers that come here and
I get
just,
treated horrible.
just take stabs and,
Sometimes.
name calling and stuff like that.
I'm sorry.
Everybody
But
does that.
it's what's
Were we doing-
expected. You have
was
to
it
build
us
a
doing-
tough exterior is what I have
Hang
done.
on. Was it us
Yep,
doing that
I
as we were
take the
talking
blows
about
as
the
they
time
come.
of the coffee? And I seem to remember Jeremy blowing up because we were talking about stuff and getting name calling.
Maybe.
That only
I don't know.
happens.
Both
when
parties
it's
do it.
instigated by the flat earthers. Yeah, from what I've seen,
Oh no,
the flat
no.
earthers
There's
you know,
times,
instigate it,
and you guys
then
know it.
whinge
I get called a
when
cunt
they
by
get it
Kerr
back.
for no reason.
Yeah.
You also
That's
get
just
that.
how-
He can't
that's
help
just how
himself.
he is.
In Curve's defense, Stacy, I
He gets
have
grumpy at
heard
times.
you. I have heard you call people names just out of nowhere before.
I've called somebody maybe twice on here after taking a
Yeah,
beating
don't
and
get me
saying
wrong.
fuck
But
shit
still,
like
you
my
did it
brother
twice, so
never
you don't.
died and
I've
just
done it too.
crazy
We've all
nonsense.
done it. So why are we even talking about it? Let's go back to what we were talking about.
But what is it? It's well, we can, but I didn't bring this up. Me and Debbie were just talking about something different in the past, not now. I was joking about Kerr, but if you want to go there about me personally, we can.
Well, that's
No,
what you were talking to Debbie about.
Yeah.
That was pretty much
Yeah, and-
Right,
explicitly
between
what
me
you
and
brought up.
Debbie. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is snake.
You
This is the
people are
snake pit.
unbelievable.
Lewis, you're unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You have an uncanny ability to not follow a conversation, but think that you
Somebody
are.
keeps coming and attacking you, sometimes we end up breaking ourselves because we're called humans. But usually it's not just somebody
Yeah.
like Witz that comes in and you guys go attacking, or it's someone like me coming in. As soon as I say one thing, you call it stupid. I haven't said anything, one negative thing tonight, and look how many things negative have been said about me just in text. Let's get real.
Mhm.
I'm watching text.
I don't even read the texts.
I think they're funny.
If anybody gave me a shout out, I know JJ did earlier, and
right.
Well, okay.
It's like one of my
how
favorites,
about you winch to them in the text about the people that are having a go at you and just ignore it, maybe even.
I don't even care, but my point is don't act like it doesn't happen.
I'll make up a jug of concrete for you guys. How about that?
If it makes
A
you
big
feel
old
good.
glass of it. Glass of concrete sorts you right out.
yeah, just be nice to to the flyers. Don't treat them like imbeciles and stuff like that. It's
Yeah, we've been trying.
Some
I
some
mean, why are you
really
here? I
for
mean,
it.
why are you here anyways? I mean, to argue this.
To reinforce
what's
their
the
beliefs,
agenda?
like
What's
we
the
do.
agenda?
Same thing.
Something
They're
cool.
reinforcing their beliefs, aren't they?
How can you debate if you're not open-minded?
Why would they bother if they didn't want to reinforce what they believe? Same with us. Why would we bother? It is entertaining. Some people come here for entertainment. I find it entertaining in this server, especially.
Yeah,
That's true.
the best way to describe it, I reckon, Becky.
There's lots of fun happens
agree.
here. I must admit,
Yeah, I
I
have
enjoy
lots of
it.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here to pick up on some new evidence. I haven't heard. It's the same old discussion, you know.
I gave one.
Arguments that just really go nowhere.
We're still waiting on any evidence from Flat Earth.
But the flat earthers are winning. They're winning. They are winning.
Really?
Have to
How
say.
are they? Explain
They
how
are
they are,
just-
please. I mean,
'Cause-
Nathan in the duck suits. We've had Jeranism's deleted all his videos off his
The
channel.
movement is
Leo had to start up a new one. I wasn't finished. I'm just listing
the
off all the
movement
stuff
is expanding
off my head.
exponentially, sir.
No,
I
it's
go
not.
to YouTube channels that don't really discuss
Okay,
flat Earth, but
I'll go and check the
they're flat Earth
Google
believers.
search results right now. Oh, there we go. Flashburn's done it. Google search results for Flat Earth. Doesn't look like it's gone up at all.
Google's control. That's controlled information. They're gonna put to the top the dumb stuff. Same as YouTube. It's all controlled. Come on now.
Okay, how about we go and get BitChutes? Why don't we get BitChutes analytics then?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, get BitChutes. That would be fair. I
Hey,
reckon, to be honest.
filter those results back
People like
to
Earth, you know, when you go to
14 years.
YouTube.
Filter those as
Neil
far
deGrasse
back as they can
Tyson
go.
and the others. One now.
Oh no, you are. You just compared it to another search term. No. Get rid of the nothing. Get rid of nothing. Here. That's misleading. You need to show the interest in the term relative to itself.
You have to know the good channels that are putting out, you know,
Yeah,
good information.
Name
Not
one good channel.
disinformation. Not disinformation.
Yeah, name one good channel.
Here you go.
Nathan Oakley, Flat Earth Brothers.
Nathan Oakley? Hang on. What? The one who
Yeah, it's a great-
sequestered
that's a great
money
debate
from his
platform.
patrons to buy him a new
that is
fucking
a great-
car.
Don't talk
and-
about
and
the money
other-
when we talk
and
about NASA stealing
I
billions of
wasn't
dollars,
finished,
sir.
and other
Don't
equipment
talk about,
did nothing
don't
to
talk
further
about a
his
little drop in the
research into
bucket to
flat
NASA.
Earth.
Come on now. What
Well,
about
he gets
NASA?
he gets the Daily Show. He does a daily show, and people
Not
get to
going
call
back.
in and
Lost the
express their
technology.
opinions.
We are going back. Come on now.
He does a lot of work. He does a lot of work
Compare
more
that
than all
to
of us
billions of
combined.
dollars just being wasted on bogus research.
Yeah, but hang on.
Rocket's not getting up there past
You
the ionosphere.
you bunch of funding for a fucking bar fridge.
So looking at the one that Lewis just posted, it had a massive spike in about, I'd say 2016, 17, and then started dropping off, had another spike at the start of last year, and then dropped off, had a little spike, dropped off again, and then had another little spike and is on another downward trend for search terms.
Yeah, that's not how mail ballots
Which-
work.
Yeah, but the line of best fit for this entire graph is a positive slope.
What happened to Soundly?
If that's a positive slope.
Yeah, when you average it, yeah, it is.
Yeah, if you do like a straight line.
I mean, it's a really
that's not the function-
it's a really shallow slope, but
That's
it
not
is
the function you
positive.
use to describe this graph. Actually, like the beginning is sloping downwards, and then it spiked back up, and now it's sloping downwards again.
Yeah,
I like that little inflection on shallow. It's only a little shallow.
It's a little, but positive. So we'll give him that one. Yeah, sure, why not?
But if you look at it over a whole, interest has dropped since.
Well, that's because
and
people
behind
are
the
focused
curve.
on politics right now. People are focused on politics. All the flat earthers
There were a
look at
number of
politics.
things that really brought the interest up. Many of them were the Mad Mike. Oh, was Stiggy talking? Sorry, I have you turned down, Stiggy.
Oh, well, I was going to say flat earth has been taken over by politics. People went over to the politic world, and they're starting to
But
infiltrate
then how
that.
come the same spike
on.
was there in 2016?
Yeah, I was about to say exactly that.
Well, 2016.
There were a lot of things going on then.
Yeah, wasn't that Kyrie Irving stuff?
It was the year Trump took
That
the
was
office.
when a few celebrities also got
A lot of
into it.
celebrity. Yeah,
Right, yeah, there were a number of celebrities. There were a number of coordinated marketing campaigns done by a few specific individuals in the flat earth community that really brought eyes from the internet, brought a lot of clicks.
Well, it just brought everybody together to think about it, really. Out of
But
the whole collective.
that big spike you see towards the end, that's when Behind the Curve came out.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Some of
everyone
those
went.
others,
And what did that do?
most of those others were Mad Mike Hughes. In he was doing rocket launches in coordination with marketing campaigns, and that brought a lot of eyes into it.
That documentary was only like a red light. It was only just,
Oh, it was
it's
a
like a
hit piece.
temporary
Oh, of
red light,
course.
and then it turned
Well,
green, and then
but-
people were driving again.
Yeah, but hang on. This is the thing. You had Behind the Curve. You also had that lake one that National Geo did, and you also had the one that Discovery did with the helicopter. Right? They all came out around that same period, so the interest peaked in that late 2018, 2019 area.
Yeah, and that spike doesn't represent a red light. If anything, that's more of a green light that it got more interest, and then it dropped again. So how?
Well, I'm saying
that?
there's a red light before yellow light. Okay, but I mean, I'm saying there's a deterrent of people like to say the block. You said something that was against it. I thought. Sorry, I thought you said something.
No,
oh, the curve.
no,
I'm saying, hold on.
no.
But I thought you meant like people going away from flat Earth. I think people got into it, right? They were curious about it from that. After that, I think curved actually helped people look into it.
Well, if you want to look at those sort of numbers, you'd then go look at the paper that recently came out in relation to YouTube views on flat earthers, and it's actually the debunking channels, people like Simon Dan, what's another big one? I know they're actually listed.
The
Simon Dan was
documentary,
the top ones on. No,
was the reason. The documentary was the reason I left flat Earth.
No, I'm talking about the Davros has got it. Go, Dav. Can you find the paper that we were reading on the video views? Because when you look at the numbers, I think Simon Dan at the top of the thing had more numbers than Flat Earth video views overall, and he was only the top, debunking channel. The rest of them added up to millions of debunker views, whereas the Flat Earth
you're
views
talking
are
about the one that
down.
had like Sabine Hofstetter in that, and they limited it to 1 million views.
Yeah, go grab that.
I'll see if I can find it. Hang on.
Do you think it could have been that maybe there were alternate earthers coming to debate, and they weren't watching his
Something
stuff.
that's interesting.
They were just trying to comment,
If you look at if you filter, actually, this used to be true. Let me double check to make sure it's still true. 1 second.
What does it even infer that the debunking channels had more views? Like,
would you call it a debunking channel? Would you categorize it as a debunking channel?
Okay. Well, the inference there is that a lot of the interest, because somebody searching for flat Earth debunks is also going to feed into this flat Earth analytical data set. So by saying that all of the debunks were just as popular or more popular than the actual flat Earth content, you're kind of saying that most of the people that are contributing to this statistic don't believe in flat Earth. Okay. which goes against what the main flat Earth people would say is that look, you see all this interest, people, this is growing, it's a growing movement, and by saying that, well, actually these debunk videos are even more popular than yours, you're saying that no, it's not a growing movement. There's just a lot of people laughing at you. That's the idea.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I say something? Like, what happened to other things that are involved? Like, two things real quickly. It'll be quick. Like last year, we went to 2019, there was a global-wide tour that happened that traveled I don't know how many thousand, like 20,000 plus miles, okay? Reached people. On top of, there was a lot of things happening in 2019 beyond what you're speaking of. On top of, also Brian Stabley was part of the Mandela Effect crew, and he was going over to the flat Earth side and pulling people to, hey, realize, look, there's Mandela effects. Then in reality, some of the Mandela affected people saw flat Earth. There's a lot of things that bring people to this community. That's not what you're saying. I've never watched a debunk video in the beginning, ever. You guys are putting statistics of things that you don't know.
Well, they know them, but guys, we got to be careful. You can make statistics say a lot of things, that's all. But I appreciate your level 1 inferences.
Right.
No, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I don't at all. I'm sorry. I cut you off to make you laugh.
No, that's fine. Now, like I was going to bring this up earlier. This is the flat Earth trend on over the past 7 days, and this has been almost the exact same shape of the graph on a daily basis for, I would say, years now. So what you have here is every day you have a spike at the same time of day, and what this suggests is that the same people have a daily routine of looking up flat Earth stuff.
Basically, the same people make that spike.
Right. The consistency and longevity of this pattern suggests that there is a basically what it means is that it's the same people looking up flat Earth stuff every day. It's not new people. It's the same people.
You could get those numbers too, but I would agree with you.
So it could be a couple looking up flat Earth data. Isn't it?
Yeah. It's probably most of us and other people in 24/7.
Why would the same people look up the same thing?
Because we're trying to find stuff to debunk each other with, things like that. Mostly.
Hey Lewis, curious, what time are those peaks at? I can't see on the.
Oh, I'll find out. So the peaks tend to be.
On how to do something, and I learned how to do it. I don't need to go back and watch the video 100 times.
So I live in the central United States. So right now it is 8 o'clock for me, 7:54, going on 8 o'clock. And these peaks for me are between 5 p.m. and 10 p.m. That's the top of the peaks. Almost consistently every day, it's 5 and 10 every day.
Oh, we're about the same times, about 7 p.m. So yeah. Okay.
North
thanks.
America, East Coast mostly.
Yeah, and so just in case you,
sounds like it would be the Globers.
It's kind of small.
Trying to watch and build up just build up something.
This graph is compiled from worldwide data available to Google.
But who's to say that's around the same time that people get home from work? They're getting, chance to get onto the computer. They're not sitting at their computer all day like a lot of people in here do. I'm not saying any of you guys. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that can have that opportunity. Well, those people have to wait until that time frame usually to get home and do those things.
No, but the point of it is, Stacy, is that it's the same people roundabout that are doing the searches on a daily routine. As Lewis said, it's a routine. So people that are looking for it are getting home, jumping on their computer, clicking open their tab, and just going to whatever YouTube that they look at to find flat Earth stuff, or Googling is there new developments in flat Earth, or flat Earth would be in the search somewhere. So it's not there aren't an influx of new flat earthers that are, or people that are searching it out. It's the same people doing it all the time.
Why would you trust the Google Analytics though? They're clearly against flat Earth. So what makes you think they're not just lying?
Are they, Jeremy? Can you still find Nathan Oakley's channel on a Google search?
You can find it, but they're obviously promoting the debunks. Hold on, they're obviously promoting the debunks and shit first, and then after that, yes, you can find other flat Earth shit that's actually flat Earth relevant, but they're putting all the shit that makes fun of it and debunks it.
Jeremy, why do you think that is?
I don't care why it is. They're anti-flat Earth, so why would you trust the numbers?
It's important.
Because they don't want people to believe what we're talking about.
No, it's because those are the results that are popular and that people click on.
Actually not.
That's why they come up first.
There was times that I've been recommended stuff because I just talked about it or anything else. It has nothing to do with other people clicking on it. It recommends to people what the hell it wants to recommend and who it wants to recommend it to. So to verify this stuff would be ridiculous.
Yeah, but Jeremy was saying that Google is censoring flat Earth, and by simply Googling any
that's a straw man. I didn't say that. Straw man about
what did you say then? Sorry, I might have missed.
I said they're clearly against flat Earth because they're not promoting any of the actual flat Earth stuff. They're promoting all the debunks and stuff that's making fun of it.
If they were against flat Earth, why haven't they taken all of the search results out of YouTube and everything else? Because Google own YouTube. So if they were against flat Earth, that you would have thought they would have taken the next step and censored all of the flat Earth misinformation videos, because that's why they're against flat Earth. It's misinformation. So if they were really against it and wanting to censor it, why haven't they?
Well, they do.
So you don't think they're against flat Earth?
I think they're against misinformation. Yes.
Okay, let's make it tomorrow, right? And all flat Earth videos are gone. There's not one on the internet whatsoever. They've been censored, and you can't upload anything about flat Earth. You don't think that this is going to be a big uproar
Do you think
in the
That's
community?
that's never going to happen, though, because the internet is about the exchange, the free exchange of information and whatnot.
Right, and that's what
So
they
that's
create
never
the
going to
illusion
happen.
of a
We're never
free
not going to
exchange.
see a flat
Yeah.
Earth video on a search anywhere, because there are still places like BitChute and the new ones that are popping up that are giving people more of a free platform, I guess, to say whatever the hell they want without consequence.
Right. Absolutely.
Which is going to catch up with them eventually, because international law is a thing.
Censorship is censorship, and that's what they do.
Well, no, it's not. They're not. Again, and that's what the point that I was trying to make. Flat Earth isn't being censored because you can go into a YouTube tab with a fresh Google login, search for Nathan Oakley, and still find his channel. Flat Earthers aren't being censored.
That doesn't mean it's not being censored, man.
All right, I want to point something out here that I've just realized. It's not necessarily indicative that it's the same people every day, but I tend to think it probably is. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it is. And to demonstrate that, here's another graph, and the search term for this graph is Trump. And I don't think it's the same people, although it's possible. I don't think it's the same people every day.
It would be like the logical conclusion would be that it would probably be likely the same people searching for it, and I'd agree with that. But you might be right; it might not be the same people doing it.
Right.
Why would there be a graph at all? Why would there be a graph? A need for a graph? No, I'm talking about the subject of the Earth.
Because they keep track of all sorts of data.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. But
if it's so stupid, right? If it's not possible and stupid and unscientific, why is there a graph or analytics?
They keep track of
stupid question
all the time.
That is a really stupid question. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Why do we keep track of who watches videos and what number of? Oh my god. You felt the need to talk over the middle
videos?
of the, all right, you answer it yourself. I'm one.
Why are there videos?
There are videos, and like I said, you can still search them up. Flat Earth isn't being censored anywhere.
That's a ridiculous statement. They're admitting that they're censoring it.
Difference between censoring and deleting videos that are harmful in their eyes.
So it is being censored then?
Well, YouTube,
no, it's not censoring.
we
It's
don't
deleting.
know.
So it is being censored.
That's not censoring. You don't
A
understand.
question I have is: did YouTube? Who deleted the videos on Jaren's channel then? Rakia, was it Jaren or YouTube? Do we know? We don't
talking
know.
About censorship. We're talking about censorship. You said it's not being censored.
Okay, if
You're
YouTube
wrong.
didn't delete the videos off
What just
Jaren's
happened
channel,
to John
why did
Thor's
Jaren?
page?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours again, Stacy? Fuck me. How dare I?
I apologize.
Yeah,
The owner
Rakia.
of YouTube is admitting they're censoring the subject.
Rakia, Jarenism even admitted that he had to nuke his
Why
videos.
are you bringing up Jarenism? I'm talking about censorship.
That was the
subject.
conversation, you dumb fuck.
No,
the censorship.
Censorship.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I asked who censored it. Was it Jaren or was it YouTube?
And
so with Jaren's admission
Globebusters-
that it was Jaren himself,
Yeah.
it's not
Globebusters took
YouTube
down a
censoring
bunch
them,
as well.
is it? Fucking dickhead.
What is wrong with y'all, man?
No, it's you being so incredulous.
So did they go in front of Congress and say we're going to censor this or not?
I don't know. Did they?
It's already.
Why did
did.
this automatically become American centric?
I don't think it is. It's worldwide. YouTube is worldwide, right?
Would Congress
But
have anything to
it's
do
an
with it?
American company. That's why they went in front of Congress and they said they're going to
What
censor
did you say? Google's an American company? Did you?
I said their base, some of their base, their restrictions are based in America, so they had to go in
there's
front
the
of
shifting of the
Congress.
goalpost.
And
You realize what he
Congress
said?
asked them how they're going to censor it, and they said they're going to do this, this, and this to censor it. Are you denying that?
Well, yeah,
Oh, you
because
mean
they
they had
didn't,
to bend
they
the
didn't
knee?
describe censoring it. They described adding the link to correct information, which is what they've done.
Sure. So, Jim, when he said that the subject is not being censored, do you think he was correct or wrong?
Well, I think it depends how you define censorship. But I think if you're saying that stuff is being removed, I don't. That's not true. But I think if you're saying, I don't know. I mean, can you say stuff is being suppressed? Well, I don't know if you can. You can say it's not being promoted, but is that the same as it being suppressed? I don't know whether it is.
I'd go as far as to say that it's they've changed the algorithm so that it's not as easy to find, but I still get
Which
flat
is
Earth stuff
censorship,
pop up
right?
in my. Hang on, I wasn't finished.
No.
I still get flat Earth stuff pop up in both my feeds that I've got. So it's not being censored and it is still being promoted in some cases. But again, the algorithm works on what you're searching for too. So you could, open up a brand new Google account, use it to then start searching on YouTube, and don't use the terms flat Earth and see what you get pop up. It depends on what the user of the account is searching for.
Would you like to recant that it's not being censored?
It also
No,
depends
I
what
would say it's
country
not
that
being
you're in as
promoted as
well.
Jem said. They've taken active steps to not promote it as much, but it's not being censored at all.
Well, they got to censor flat Earth because, God forbid, some young person might actually start thinking that the Earth is flat. And that would be a problem. So good for them.
Does China censor?
It's dangerous,
I know they
right?
do.
If it was censored, when I did a search for flat Earth, we would expect to get nothing, right?
No, we
don't.
didn't say it was wiped out. We said it's being censored. You're not finding as many results now, Jim.
Well, I find hundreds of results. It's just all
Instead of thousands, right? Because they
I think
censored
the
it.
flat Earth people
Well, I
should be
don't know.
arrested.
I've never checked thousands of results.
Why can't y'all ever concede a point?
It's usually you're wrong.
The thing
Google's
is, that
usually,
has
as
to
in,
do the
I'm not
research
wrong
on
in this case, and you still can't concede.
Like I said at the start, I think it depends exactly how you define censorship. But
You
I
mean to
think
start when you jumped in to save your guy because he was wrong?
I just wanted to take part in the conversation.
By saving him and changing the definition of censorship?
But
I don't need
I
them
didn't
saving
change the definition. I said it depends how you define it. I haven't defined it. I haven't defined it, and neither have you.
Is arresting a rapist, is that censoring?
I don't know why.
I mean, you guys would agree that Google and YouTube is against flat Earth, obviously, right?
I just think the popularity.
You guys agree on that?
So, yeah.
I heard nothing.
They deemed it dangerous to society, right? So they had to censor it. And y'all are denying that they're censoring it.
No, what I said earlier was I think that they're against misinformation and then taking steps to prevent misinformation being promoted as much.
So,
right,
and
by
Jem said the same
censoring,
thing.
by censoring it.
Google's the arbiter of what misinformation is now?
Yeah, well,
censorship would be complete removal.
It is with rote facts like the
So
shape of the
censorship
Earth.
is complete removal? That's
We
dumb.
definitely don't want resources like YouTube devoted to promoting nonsense like the Earth is flat, do we? Really? I mean,
Or alien.
Yeah,
that can't be a good idea.
Well, you guys can't admit that it's a possibility that when people do a research, they go online and they do a Google search, so they're not actually getting, they type in flat Earth, they might be getting a whole bunch of debunked flat Earth instead of actual flat Earth videos of information.
Well, that'd be good. That's good. I hope that happens. That's.
But that would be censoring.
No, that's just one side not being
You're
promoted.
limiting the videos that people have to see. If you don't let those people see them and you push them to the side and they don't view those, right? Never comes into their viewing, then you're censoring the videos that have been out there and what should be recommended to these people in front of their face.
Well, why should they be recommended?
Why should your
is
stuff be
that a thing?
recommended?
Because hold on, there's thousands and thousands of hours of video that gets uploaded to YouTube every day that doesn't get recommended, and it's not all flat Earth. Hardly any
You're
of it
talking
gets
about
recommended.
when we look into flat Earth.
In fact,
and the
almost
differences.
none of it gets recommended. So it's not really censorship to say, something isn't being recommended.
If there's videos for them to be recommended looking into flat Earth and they get the debunk part, and debunk was never added into that Google search, then there's an issue there. Why are they only applying the debunk videos instead of the other videos?
Because
popular?
That would depend.
Sure.
That would also depend how the debunk video is tagged. If they hadn't put debunk in it, then it's not going to respond to a search for debunk, is it?
Well, this is my point. Until the research is done that this censoring happening in this manner, then no one can verify that it's not happening.
Oh,
how about we verify
I can verify it's not happening because I searched for flat Earth and there are results. That's it.
You've seen everybody's stuff? Like, there's a lot of stuff out there for flat Earth. Is a lot of stuff being recommended to you, or only a few videos that they want you to see only?
I wouldn't be surprised if Jem had, yeah.
If I do a search, well, let's do the search. Hold on. I'll do the search.
And I'm just asking this, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a fact, but I do know China definitely censors this shit.
China's way different. They're a whole different country.
Right,
well, yeah,
I don't
China
think it tells me the
honestly
number of
censors
results.
anything that they don't want their people to know. So, of course, if they don't want them to know about flat Earth, why is that? Question mark on a postcard.
Because it's stupid.
And incorrect.
Then they wouldn't care if the people found in and looked into it because it would be stupid.
No, because they're smarter. Our Americans are more gullible, so we want to make sure that it gets cut off at the knees. The Earth
Okay,
is
so what
round.
does China get to see? What is China get to see on their internet? A bunch of nonsense? Because yes, they do.
The Earth is round, and so it's not really an issue. So let's just move on. Let's talk about something else.
Well, have you ever seen the videos that China gets to view or not view?
No, I haven't. What do they look like?
Right, that's my point. They keep all the good things that they don't want the people to know about away from them on purpose, and have them focusing on exactly what they want them to watch, and only what they want them to watch. Yeah, because they're very, very controlled. They're censored beyond belief.
Maybe they feel that flat Earth is a cancer, and they don't want to affect people that are gullible. And maybe we don't have that problem here, or that restriction here, and we're actually exposed now for that actually proliferating our society. People that now, are suspect.
Oh, so it's a big deal? It's harming people's brains because we're that big now?
Well,
or is it because they don't want them to think logically and use their own thoughts?
If everybody here that was a flat earther spent as much time in college that they did here, they'd all have degrees, successful jobs, and be making piece of paper amounts of money. Yeah, they would be.
And I think with the look at the data we just did, that we found that flat Earth isn't in fact growing or anything. I'm roboting.
No, not you.
No, it's
I was telling Dave to shut up because he was turning into a robot.
Oh, sorry, I have Dave turned down because of the echo.
I swear to God, % Witsit, everybody would have PhDs by now in any science-related field, and they'd be making boatloads of money, having tons of fun, and associated with people that were even at their intellect level or even above, and be having a successful life instead of just sitting here droning on about the Earth being flat, ignoring all the absolute obvious evidence. But for me, it's actually just a lot of fun.
Zanuck, either one of those guys would fail a criminology degree and would have no chance at even passing a GMAT.
Okay, so you say blah, blah, blah. But the point is this, how do you know that they don't have a degree? Have you ever verified that? Or maybe they don't want you to know.
I gave Witsit a test last night, a real simple one because he's pretty sharp. I thought he could pass it. He failed it. He has the basic logic. He's an error in his logic. His brain is not wired correctly.
Zanuck, I felt that way about you a couple of times too, so I really wouldn't be laughing.
I am laughing because I have a degree and he doesn't.
There's a piece of paper. It does not give you smart.
Dropout?
Yeah, I don't have all the excuses of why I've gotten arrested a million times either.
And no one is concerned with your opinion of him, Becky or Stacy.
And the only reason you have that opinion of me because you have a disagreement on the obvious facts that I try to bring forward to the discussion, and you hand waves dismiss them because you don't understand the basic concepts either.
Okay, so you say, because you're basing it on the knowledge that you've been given in a book and what you've been told by your professor, and that is the end of the story. So your piece of paper that you paid a lot of money for, I hope it literally wipes your ass good when it means nothing soon.
Stacy, have you ever used the instructions on the back of a cake box?
Yeah, and you can follow them. Anybody can follow them pretty much, right?
Well, that's kind of what a lot of books in scientific learning do. They teach you how to do something that you can then physically do, like make a cake. In fact, you could almost look at
YouTube,
it.
so I hope you paid a lot of money for that. YouTube could teach you what you got taught in school.
Well, I mean, yeah, you would. I mean, a cake you buy off the shelf, and then you've got the instructions included with the box. But something like building a car, you
Where's
need
the
a
globe
little bit more
instructions for
knowledge
the globe model?
We had to figure those out.
Where are the ingredients and the instructions?
Gravity.
Well, the ingredients would be gravity, a telescope, and watching stuff in the sky.
Well, produce us a model. We want to make it. Everybody wants to make one. Everybody wants a globe in a box.
Demok, you're not actually contributing to the conversation, Demok.
No.
Hey, he just said he's going to have a globe in a box, and we're going to make it like a cake.
That's not what we're talking about right now.
But you're derailing, yeah.
These are things that in engineering you need to know.
You're derailing your globe.
That's the point I was trying to make. You need a little bit more instruction in something like engineering and how to build the parts of a car to build a car with the parts that you need.
If you doubt gravity or deny it, you will be unsuccessful. You will not be able to make a plane fly. You will not be able to make a car run reliably or even well or be efficient. All these things that require you to know about, and these are great topics we talk about. I'm excited to be here every day to listen and contribute and then dummy up on stuff that I
don't say retarded shit.
But the point is,
gravity for an
if you
airplane
don't
to
learn
fly.
about it, you can't use it in your daily life to be successful. That's my point.
Okay, so wait a minute. You're telling me that somebody had to go to college to learn all these things that you're talking about? Bullshit.
You don't
If you
have
look
to.
back in time,
You don't-
most of these people never went to college, honey. They actually figured stuff out by
Most
hands-on
people-
and
most
then
of-
gave you your
Mo-
books.
Most what people?
No, Stacy, they didn't learn from.
People that wrote your book.
Wait,
Well,
Stacy, it's not all trial and error. They calculated before they just went out and made something.
Who are you talking about that have not gone to college to learn
Right.
these things? Who?
I'm not talking about you.
There are
There's a lot of people in history. Let me Google a whole list for you. Hang on a second. I'll
I'm
come up
trying to
with
ask
that
you,
list for you.
but I agree with you that you don't have to go to college, and there's a lot of people that have been very successful in many disciplines, even in technical disciplines, that have not gone to college. But the percentage of the population that have done that is very, very small.
Stacy, essentially what you just said there is Bill Gates absolutely would have started Microsoft. Even
How would
though,
we know it's
even
small?
hang on. Even if he had no idea of what programming was, that's essentially what you're saying. You're trying to equate not going to college with not having any skills. That's not what we're saying.
No.
Did the Wright brothers go to college?
Well, wait. When you just said with it, and this is how this all started, if they would spend more time instead of focusing on the shape of the earth over here and flat earth and went to college, that they would be a lot smarter. But in reality, you don't know that shit.
I do, because I
Claiming
hear
something
I
that's
hear the way
bull.
I listen to the way they think. I understand what they know and what they don't know, and I understand clearly that is a deficit in their could be a deficit in their professional life, because they're not open to learning anything that is proven and has been experienced by others that have been there, done that. Whether it be a teacher or anybody, they already have their mind made up.
I know, because we're supposed to just trust somebody and given the data we've been given
No,
in the
it's not
book,
about
and we got
trusting.
pictures and stuff from space that even Beat
No.
himself says it
I've
doesn't
never
see
brought
anything before. It could be all fake, but let's just believe
never
it
brought
because
up-
we were
I've
told
never
it.
brought-
Sure.
I never brought up pictures, and I that's why I like the argument, because I like to state things that's tangible that we can actually experiment with ourselves. So I leave the pictures out. Those are damning. That's damning evidence, though, by the way. But let's just talk about things we can see and test ourselves, like looking across lakes and going up in altitude and looking at mountains and looking at full court pendulums. All these things, millions of things we can do ourselves. That's what I focus on. And you've just flat out denied all of it without any experience
Understanding
whatsoever.
perception and
Okay,
angular
so
size.
let's say you wanted to build a computer, Stacy. Would you know how to build a computer, or would you have to look up how to do that?
Actually, I used to mess with my computers and no one ever told me anything, but there's information
to
out
look
there
it
you
up,
can't
that's
find.
obvious.
And some people just mess around with things and they figure it out on their own. On the computer because it's already programmed.
Yeah, but the question was specifically you. Right now, if you wanted to build a computer, would you need to look it up or would you know how to do it?
Actually, I don't need to look it up. Just give me the pieces. I can go to the store right now and get them right now too. I can just ask somebody. I don't have to look it up.
Okay,
Nope.
so you need to. You don't
looking
already
it
have
up.
the
Asking
knowledge.
someone is looking.
Hey, you should look it up. I'm just going by that.
It's
Let's
the
start
same
there.
for all intents and
No,
purposes.
but you're missing the point. What I'm trying to do here is set up a thought experiment for you. If you wanted to build a computer, you don't want to go to a guy and you don't want to pay him the fee that he's going to charge you to put the pieces that you pick out together. You want to do it yourself.
Yeah,
Nowadays,
but I
most
know how to
computers
do
are
it
pretty modular.
actually.
You're not working,
David,
Dave.
you are a
Can't hear you,
massive robot.
robot.
Stop it.
Mind blown.
Yeah, that's why I've got him turned down. He always
The thing
causes
is
noise.
I couldn't answer that correctly anyway, because you know why? Because back in the day, I already put a computer together, us and our friends, a piece that made our own. So therefore, yeah, I could
Yeah.
probably figure it out pretty easily.
Okay.
But then again, yes, I was shown that by somebody. It took one time and it was over. I didn't need to go to college for how many fucking years and how much money to have a piece of paper to
I
show me
wasn't
how to
even
do
going
something
there.
or how smart.
I wasn't even going there with it, Stacy. I was going somewhere else
Then
entirely.
it did. You were. You're right.
Okay, so let's go back to the start. You want to build a computer, but you don't want to pay a guy to do it. So time's moved on since the last time you did it. So the components are going to be different now, right? So now that time's moved on and things have changed, you're going to have to look up again how to build a modern computer, right? Or figure out which parts you need and then figure out how they go together. So are you going to be able to do that because someone else has done it before and figured it out? Or are you going to try and figure it out yourself and maybe short your new computer out?
I'm the kind of person who tries to figure it out.
And remember, like, we're not going to a guy to
you're
do
right,
this.
but I get it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
like if
Elmer
you
Fudd
wanted to
that
do
shit.
it, you could look up the information on how to build a computer with modern components and put it together so that it doesn't short out and works properly when you turn it on, right?
True. But is it possible
Okay.
for somebody to give them the pieces and they put it together and they know how to do it, figure it out on their own? Is it possible though? Yes.
Yeah, of course. And you didn't need to go to college for that, did you?
No. And sometimes they don't
Okay,
have
so
to be
all right,
cool
we're on a
because there's a little bit
we're on a
of
roll
smart
here.
people in this world.
Okay, so now your next part, the next bit is you want to move on from building one computer to building a room full of computers with a server set up and everything else. You're going to have to learn how to do that after you've built your computer, yeah? But with the knowledge that you've just gained from
of
building that
course.
computer, you can then apply it to building the rest of the computers, and at the same time figure out how to network those to a server. So this is all stuff you can learn without going to college, and pick it up along the way. And I I'm actually kind of using myself here because this is how I learned. I started off using a completely different operating system than Windows, and I'm not great at computers now, but I'm at least fairly I can make things work.
Pretty decent. Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't need to go to college for that. Yes, you're right. You can pick up those sort of skills. And I kind of lost the point. Sorry.
That's okay, Annie.
I did
Okay.
ramble.
But
there.
you know what? I get your point, though. It's important to learn certain things, and you can go to school to learn and educate yourself in many ways. But my perspective is that a lot of these things can be taught in a shorter time span, hands-on, and college is not needed. It's a freaking piece of paper. Then make sure you almost
So how about that great
give them
reset?
money.
Well, can you teach us then how fake and everything about it is fake?
I never said everything is fake that you go to school for. Never said that.
Well, in the example with the room full of computers and the server, you might then want to go somewhere where they can teach you how to do all of that, wouldn't you? Like you'd go to a computer college that would show you, and they'd probably have a room set up that you can put your hands on building a server room full of computers.
Yep, that's how it should be
So,
done.
I mean,
and everything should be that way.
If you wanted to be certified to get a job doing that, you'd need something from the college that you went to. That's basically the point I think that was being made there. It helps, everyday life.
It's a piece of paper at the end of the day. As long as you can get that job done, and you might get it done in 2 days instead of having to be in there for a year to learn something because you were hands-on learning. I'm just saying, in
but
general
the knowledge
reality,
in your head isn't on that piece of paper certifying that the knowledge is in your head, is it? The knowledge is in your head.
Same as the
That's
technique.
thing. Now, if you want to pass that knowledge on to someone, you're going to have to write what you know down on something in somewhere, in some form, paper, computer, electronically, well, you could tell someone, but what if telling someone this knowledge that's in your head, what if you make a single mistake or something, or they don't understand a bit? If they've got it written out in front of them, they can follow it step by step and go, okay, if this works, then this next bit should work, and so on and so forth.
Right.
That's why writing out and studying things from books is somewhat important, because that's how, you know, it's another form of learning. So discounting it is just wrong, I think.
Yeah, but to put someone's intellect only on a degree and to say stuff like Zanuck was saying, it's ridiculous. Because you can learn all this stuff without a piece of paper,
but
and someone could
you're
teach you
trying to,
hands-on. All these different things can be taught to you without going to that school and getting a degree. And just because you know some information that I don't know doesn't make you smarter than me or have more intellect than
no,
me.
I never said that. No, I didn't.
Hang on,
didn't say
Cypher.
that.
I know
This
you
comes
didn't,
down
you
to the
did.
bridge building argument. Do you accept the person with the piece of paper who knows how to build a bridge, or do you accept the person who just says they know how to build a bridge?
Yes, that's a
You
good
know
point.
what though?
Who would you
The
prefer?
guy with the piece of
because I
paper
have
may have never built
trust
one.
that regulatory agency that
Who would you choose
that
if
we
you
all
were
count on.
plumbing?
Yeah, of course.
If you have problems with plumbing, who would you prefer to fix it? The plumber with a diploma or the one without?
I don't know if it
Oh no,
matters
I'll
much
get a carpenter to fix my plumbing, right? And then I'll get an electrician to do the truss in my house, and then what I'll do is I'll get that carpenter to be able to manufacture the iron gates out the front.
No, but logically, people lean more towards
Yeah,
something.
a lot of people
you can
do that though,
see
because
for
you can.
yourself.
You get a
Do
guy
you know
who
how
doesn't
many
know how to.
people?
He bids outside of his own wheelhouse and he rips himself off. He's smart enough to do the job of a plumber, but doesn't know how much time he's going to actually have to spend. You can get a guy pretty cheap that doesn't know how much time he's going to take.
Well,
you know
not
what I
just
mean, on a
that, but you're
particular
going to
job.
waste your time having hired him in the first place, because he hasn't done, like, you won't be able to do the job properly. So you've wasted your time, and he's not going to get paid. So he's wasted his time doing it. So there's
But
no
what
point to that,
happens
is there?
if the scenario is different
No,
than
a lot
that?
of
What
stuff
happens
we're
if the
talking
guy
about-
with the piece of
Never
paper
mind.
and that bridge has only been to school, been studying it, has never built
Ah,
one?
no,
just
no,
knows
no.
how
I was
it's built,
talking
and
about the
other one
person
knows how to build
building it. I was talking about the person building it, not the guy designing it or anything like that. The person building
I
it. Do you
know.
want the guy who has learnt how to build bridges by learning all the welding and the riveting processes and the laying of the road and all that crap, or the guy that just says he's done it for 10 years but has no qualification?
Let me ask you a question. The guy who has that piece of paper, who's saying as well from a piece of paper that he knows this stuff, has he ever actually built a bridge? Or is he
Because
just
you
saying it?
always have to do it to get your diploma. You also have to do it in real life, right? You have theory and you
Yeah.
have practice. So you have to do the practice to get the diploma.
That's the point I was getting to. For me to be able to build structures that are held up by steel, I had to go to trade school for 4 fucking years.
Yep, and we can even take this back to the start of where you said, Stacy, that you go to a computer guy to get a computer built. That computer guy's got the piece of paper that he got from the college that he went to learn how to build your computer for you, and charge you a little bit of money on top for the labor fee of it. He's probably going to only charge you, you know, what the computer costs and, you know, whatever time he put into it. So
Here's the thing,
again,
though.
if
Most people don't
but
pay
you said
for
earlier
that
that
in
you go to
reality.
that guy before you would build a computer, so you're trusting that
What do
the
you
piece
mean?
of paper that he's got qualifies him to put your computer together and make it work properly. Yes.
Most people, I agree with what you're saying in many, many ways. So I'm just saying, you can also use that where I know someone on the street who doesn't have a degree, but he's worked on cars his whole life because his father grew him up doing, showing him that stuff. I would trust that person with my car more than I trust someone who just came out of school for it and has never really dealt too much with, these different
So you
types
trust
of cars.
someone with more experience and that's done it for longer.
Yeah,
But how can you see the experience? How does he prove that to you?
Well, because he's out there every day and I drive by and he's doing on cars and then I realize other people say the same thing about him. He doesn't have a degree, right?
Yeah, but then you know that the person kind of, because you saw him every day. But if you have two people you don't know, how would you trust the one that can't show it? We're not saying that the person without can't do it. We're just saying, who would you choose without knowing those two people?
Have a conversation.
Most people go by experience. They don't care
Yeah,
about
but we were saying take the experience out. Is it the guy that you know that's learnt how to build it and has practiced building it? Or is it the guy that just said he's built them before?
Of course, if we just go by that, I'm welcome to somebody, but it also matters how much they fucking charge me and if I could afford the one.
Yeah, okay, they're evenly paid, right? Both ask like 100 euros or something, right? And you don't know the two people.
Right,
One
right.
says he has the experience,
Of
and
course.
one can show that he has the diploma, so also a kind of experience, right?
Right. You know how, though, I go off of feel people and energy. I don't know if other people do, but you can kind of tell sometimes people don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're talking to you and they say that they know, but they don't know.
But you can be fooled by
many
someone's
times.
experience there, Stacy.
Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
right. People can be fooled all the time. You're right.
Yeah.
And most people
So
in that situation would choose a degree because they want something to back. They want the proof, the validation that we all talk about all the time too. Can this person actually do it? You're
well,
right.
it's not the validation;
Yeah, but
it's
that
the
you don't know
understanding
yet.
that person has learnt how to do that thing.
But there is a possibility that the person who said that they know how to do it too has learned as well. So we
But
can't
you
take
don't
that out
know
of the
that.
equation.
That's the whole point, you know. You have to choose without having that knowledge.
Right,
So
and I
in-
said too, if it's the same price and money and all that, normal people and myself, and especially if the energy was right, I'd choose the person who has a degree. Of course
Yeah,
I
but-
would, and majority
yeah.
of people would, yes.
Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, of course, the one with the diploma can fuck it up, and the other can't fuck it up because he's actually good at it.
Right.
But yeah, the point is you don't know that yet, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know how it is, because it sucks. I have no diploma, and I actually worked in a nuclear facility for medical use, so not power use, but medical use. And I actually had to learn the course, right? And you don't learn that at school. It's really just a course you have to do inside, right?
Right.
But they
right.
were doubting if I actually had the intellect to actually understand the math from all that shit. So they actually gave me a chance, right? So I was really happy. But you could also get somebody with actually a good college degree or university even.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really got lucky because I was that person that couldn't show anything. Sometimes you have to really get lucky.
Based on, either your energy or they just gave you a helping hand or said, hey, let's just give it a try.
Yeah, indeed.
Absolutely.
So yeah. So in that case, you would actually give the one without a diploma a chance, and that's cool from you. But most people won't, and that's just sad.
Yeah, people to authority. I think it's also accreditation because, instead of IQ tests, university has stood in for, this test of competence. But without that, university degree, it would be probably a tougher road, and they'd probably have to prove themselves using tougher, means, a body of work, word of mouth, and faith, or more faith rather than just the diploma.
You have to sell yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Michelle Malkin was talking about in her book, You Didn't Build That, about entrepreneurs with rugged spirits just like that didn't have all of the traditional contacts or routes of development for career development. And so they struck out on their own. They had to prove themselves, through all those barriers. And their work was, their calling card. And eventually they did get it, but it was, a tough road, until then, of course.
Yeah. Exactly that. Yeah, I really understand that if you don't have a diploma, you really get just pushed away, man. It's really sad. So in some way, I can actually understand it much further.
Well, people take a chance on you either way. There was that recent debacle where the bridge collapsed, I think, in where was it? Minneapolis, Minnesota or something. And these were, I think they were university graduate people. But the bridge that they made didn't have the right supports in the right places, and it fell, and I think it ended up killing 6 people. And this was even people, as far as I could tell, that were university trained and accredited. And so it could happen either way, but I think they kind of put the culprit on hiring, for representation. It was an all-female, supposedly all-female development team, and they put the onus on the need for like this representation, as a tokenism kind of, as opposed to just competence. But who knows? It could have been a mix of factors, even with that.
I'm not sure on this. This is just an honest question. Wasn't Tesla? I didn't drop out of high school. Did he drop out of college as well, or something like that?
You're talking about Nikola Tesla?
Yeah, didn't he drop out of college or something like that? I remember. I'll
He
take
did
the
drop
full
out. Yes.
degree.
Yep, that's a thing.
He did? Okay.
Well, Einstein didn't. He
Yeah.
left school at age 12, I think.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, I think if you know some people that don't have a diploma, for example, like me, you just, if you really have an interest and motivation, I think that's more likely to. I would hire somebody who has really motivation than rather a diploma and have like, yeah, I can do it, and lack the motivation. Then I would prefer the motivation guy, because I know motivation actually gives them the.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A lot of people lack motivation in life, and that's why they don't do things that they're even capable of doing. So, we're our own worst enemies, telling us that we can't do shit all the time. I'm not capable of doing this, or I can't do this. But in reality, we're just keeping ourselves down. So, yeah, it's sad, actually.
Really, I guess the only thing that was meant by Zanuck's whole comment was, if they had taken the time to actually learn information versus come here and spout information that is incorrect, they would be much further in life. It wasn't necessarily saying about the degree. And that's how we got down to this.
In that
maybe the degree
regard,
just
perhaps
didn't mean
Zanuck
with
has
the
a point.
information. Yeah, sorry.
No, he has a good point. Possibly.
It's about the information, and if you don't have it, you don't know it. That's all it is. Once you get that information, then what you do with it is your own thing. But it's not necessarily needs to be on a piece of paper, or you have to go to college. There's many ways of getting information and applying that.
Stacy, that
and knowledge.
But there are certain fields that is absolutely bullshit. Like I would never. For somebody who wants to perform open heart surgery, I'm sorry, you need that piece of paper, you need the experience, and you need to show what you're doing.
Okay, but a doctor, that's really rare shit. They really operate on bodies like for 4 years. I actually have a doctor friend. Yeah,
they go by experience, and they let them have that experience and stuff like that going through college. And there are certain things that you cannot just learn. I mean, I guess you can if you have a nurse as a mom or a doctor as a mom, and they can teach you things. But in reality, you need hands-on experience and knowledge of those specific things and how our body works. But it doesn't mean that those doctors have it all right either. They're constantly being, later on in years go, heart surgery different now,
Stacy, your little undertone of trying to dismiss credentials and degrees is annoying. I have to tell you that.
It really is, Stacy. You got to realize that not only do you learn the disciplines that you go study, but you learn how to learn. And that's simple. You were there when I had that simple conversation with Witzy yesterday. This is nothing about whether the earth was flat or round.
Yes.
It was simply about logic, and he didn't have the basic logic. He would learn that in school because he'd be forced to accept a logical approach to problem solving, which he lacks. And he lacks because he's never gone to school.
I can actually counter that. If you're done talking, then I will.
Yeah.
There are people that are very proficient without having college degrees. Gates is one of them. There's a few of them out there. There's a very, very small percentage that can excel in these technical disciplines like engineering and medicine and others. But there have been outliers for sure. And there were certainly in our past, in history, there's been people that have done amazing work before there was even colleges. So that's not the end all, a catch all. But it does tell you, Stacy, that if people spent the time here with people that have actually had the experience and the knowledge to bestow that to them, they would be far better off. In fact, I'd be willing to say the ones that are motivated could all have degrees today in fine paying jobs in any discipline they would choose.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
let's say you go to university. Here in the Netherlands, it takes 4 years. Most of all the studies take 4 years, and you can actually do 8 years on it. Okay, so if that guy that does 8 years over a 4-year course, does that mean he has the work and think level of of the university, even if he took like two times the
Two degrees, or did he go for took him 8 years to
No,
get a
just
full
one.
degree?
Just one, and he took twice the time. Because that happens a lot here in the Netherlands. They just drink all day, the students, and they usually take 6 to 8 years. Will that say that to me, if I'm a boss and I ask him, yeah, I did 8 years about it, then I can also think, okay, so then if I give you work, you also need twice as much time.
That's a little unfair without knowing the
Yeah,
system.
it's unfair, but that's like I don't have a diploma, so I'm like, okay, I don't have a diploma. Okay, I have to fight for shit. But on the other side, I have a high IQ, so I actually understand it. I know how to learn. There's a difference between knowing and understanding.
I hired a guy that was a brilliant engineer that had to go to wasn't Phoenix. It was the other little engineering school. I forget the name of it. That just closed down. But yeah, I was one of my best hires, and I just knew he was hard. Came from hard knocks. Didn't have any money. Had a crappy upbringing, but he was just a brilliant engineer, and I had no problem with for what I wanted him for, and how his aptitude to learn and his curiosity and his motivation to learn things. He was a great hire. So no, it depends. It really depends. That's what the bosses do. That's their decision, right? To say, oh, this guy took 8 years. Is he a screw off, or did he just have circumstances that precluded him from being able to finish in 4?
I also got another one. A friend of mine is a slow learner, and they told him that he could only pass the lowest grade of college or high school. I don't know how it's compared to Dutch and the US with schools, but he eventually here we have the university is the highest, and you also have HBO, and I think that's like college for you, but MBO is also college. He actually did the HBO, and nobody would even think he would ever manage it, but he did. He's a slow learner, and it takes a little bit more of his job time, but yeah, he also got the chance, and yeah.
Well, the nice thing about college is that you then go into emphasis in areas that you are interested in and maybe more proficient in. So those people that did bad in high school can do well in college after they get all their general education out of the way, because they're doing something they like to do, like computer science. They can be experts with numbers, but horrible in history and English and everything else. So they're not going to be communicators. They're not going to be writing papers. They're just going to be, designing and working with computers and computer programs.
But college doesn't always teach logic or any of this stuff you said about logic.
That's
it teaches you to learn. Because in reality, there's a lot of people that are really good at one thing, and that's all they're good at, and they have no common sense for shit.
Well, look at the energy. I like using Woods as an example because look at how he's hyperactive. He's got a lot of energy. He can rattle off the terms and words. He make up terms as he goes. He's got he's got that going on. His brain's actually working, but he lacks basic logic. He would not be able to take the attack in college. They would stop him in his tracks. He would not pass. He would not be moved forward because his logic is in error. He has no logic, as we know logic.
Wow.
It's just not right.
Well,
and
that's your reasoning. That's your logic.
He would learn because he could do it. He's fighting it because he has this young creationist attitude. Everybody's wrong. I'm right. That's not going to fly in college.
Not necessarily. I think he tries to cut through some of the old, ways of thinking, which can come from established institutions. Colleges have their trade-offs. They train people, they acculturate people into the culture where they're going to need to work with people, do research, find information using these avenues that are on, the books to save time. But sometimes they can have self-defined ways of approaching the problems that need to be addressed.
There's a lot of colleges that are very hands-on, and you don't just believe things you read in the books. You actually work. You start acting like you're in that position. You're doing work in that field. So you don't just read things and memorize stuff. You actually do stuff and validate that these books are written by people that were smart enough to actually educate you on things that you didn't know before you got there.
Yeah, the whole point of PhD and graduate programs is to try to create something novel as a portion of teaching yourself something new.
Exactly.
That's also where I see the difference between knowing and understanding. I mean, if you learn and you get your diploma, would you pass the test again 10 years later without learning? Would you still pass the test?
Yeah.
There's many
you
things
really
that
actually learn it deep down. Yeah.
right.
Most people could pass the test a year later.
You know the logic, so you can work. You know enough of the basic logic and basic knowledge to be able to put the pieces together and learn what you're trying to that you since forgotten.
Yeah, but I think we fundamentally disagree, Zanuck.
What's that about? What
about that's what you think people get out of college?
How to learn?
That's the theory. I get that's the theory, but that's not what really happens to most people.
It does happen though. It gives you the discipline. Gives you the fundamental ability to think, to learn, how to reason. All these things are given in class.
People already had that.
Why do you think
I
they
mean,
teach?
listen.
Why do they teach you history and English and
being
liberal
taught
arts?
something? Being taught
That's a really good
something is not the
question.
same
Why do you
as-
think
as
they do that?
knowing
They do that so you learn how to learn.
But it doesn't work.
What do you mean it doesn't work? How do you know it?
Wait. Xanax, how does the baby learn then?
Somebody asked.
Stop that.
Someone gave me a statement. Hold on. What do you mean it doesn't work? How do you think? Why do you think it doesn't work?
Because there's no evidence that says they change those people one bit when they leave those classes.
being taught something is not the same as knowing something.
I think college is used nowadays as many things. A place to gain contacts, a place to learn, a place to find oneself, overpriced babysitter, overpriced, party, house. People get different things out of the college depending on their temperament, what they want out of it. And it's been, farmed out to so many people as a job market thing, as opposed to higher learning. So it's kind of, changed its definition a little bit.
It gives you the tools. You go in there, you learn how to make a proposal. You learn how to write papers. You know how to structure your sentences to be able to describe things to people. I mean, it gives you the ability to communicate your ideas, to learn new concepts, and to put pieces of puzzles together. These are the things you learn in college. Now, Scott, if you disagree, that's you can. But the people I've known that went to college before and after, I've seen remarkable changes in them in those areas. Maybe you would disagree, but
But how do you know that was college and not just 4 years of maturing?
Yeah.
Well, okay, now we're okay. That's a good point.
Yes.
No, it is.
Not only that, like the fact that you said that college teaches logic for me, it really baffles me. Because as a kid, when you put your hand on a burner and you burn yourself, you logically know reasoning that hey, I shouldn't do that. You know logic before you're ever even taught that shit.
Okay, Stacy, Scott and Zanuck are about to hash something out real fast, so everyone get the floor real quick. This is an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I think I've known a lot of people that are older, and I don't think they've learned these things just by being older. But that's it's obviously a valid question, and you can test that, I'm sure.
Yeah. But then you got to worry about the self-selection process, right? Because the people who are older and didn't learn anything, they wouldn't have been helped going to college either.
Yeah, and if they're older and they didn't learn anything, where did they learn what they knew when they're younger? Where did they learn that?
Oh, they could. There's a lot of. They could be specialized in so many areas without a college degree. You could work for a company. You could work for a guy that's very smart, and he could basically handhold you and give you the small specifics of a very small area of some area of technology. So you become an expert, probably better than some PhD guys in that particular area of technology. That happens a lot too.
Sure. If they're older, does like time an independent variable?
My only point was, I just think that so much time is wasted here by these, and this is fun for everyone to waste time and be friends and be social and interact. But if these guys like Whitsitt and whoever were in school for the last 4 years of doing this, they would be wildly more successful if they opened their mind and took it in. They would be.
Are you saying that the mind, people, doesn't get more knowledgeable with age, with time, with experience, with reality?
Aaron, that's not really in the discussion right now. Don't try to distract.
Well, Zanuck just said that no, they don't, right? So the guy just asked about maturity. Maybe they matured over 4 years.
No, but you said a bunch of other things too. You said with age, with time, with experience, with knowledge, with you can't add all that.
Come with maturing.
Yeah, people mature about it. I totally agree with that.
Some don't. And
Well,
just for the record,
True.
I don't know that Zanuck is wrong. I just know there's no evidence saying he's right. He could be right, but we don't have the evidence either way. So I don't know the answer either.
Well, Scott, I think the thing is you get a framework. I think either way you're going to mature, but how are you going to mature? You know, how are you going to be molded and grown with this maturity? It can happen either way, but, you know, with the frameworks that are given from a university education, it may take you in a new path or a new direction. Maybe.
But even at that, right, every university education is very different. You go to UC, which for those who are not in the States, that's University of California. It's a statewide school system, our top tier, or Cal State. And you get very different educations, and theirs even very different from some of the more elite private colleges. And so some of these colleges, you know, they give you a diploma by the time you're done, are just factories, right? They just push you through. You're in a class with hundreds of people. You get no private interaction with any instructor. You just go and you take Scantron tests, and you come out and you have a BS in something or other, or a BA
And
in
not
something
just you,
or other.
but 3,000
It
other
varies.
people have the
Yeah, and
exact
it
same
yeah. So, you know,
qualifications.
to talk about a college experience and what one learns in college as if everyone learns the same thing and everybody's experience is identical, it just radically oversimplifies the question.
I'm sure you didn't take it as such, but
No, I didn't think you were either.
I think it's the entire college experience. I think it's just, you know, spend time learning, opening your mind to people's ideas. Like even people here that have so much, there's a wealth of knowledge in this chat. It's amazing, actually, the people that are actually here. You know, listen to them. You know, just take their word for it, and then go do your own investigation on the things that they've taught you, rather than just fighting it from the beginning. I'm right. I know everything. The Dunning-Kruger thing is all over this chat, and it's just sad because people could be spending time learning things and making themselves better rather than just fighting the establishment.
I am the citation.
In the citation, his favorite. I mean, his best comment. My favorite.
And I think also you have a little bit of maybe I guess you could say red pill, maybe even red pill fear, because we've seen innovative people like Tesla or even people in the academics, you know, today say, I got pushed out of my profession because I didn't toe the party line on this thing about evolution or medicine or something like that. So you have
that's
some
never
red pill
happened.
intimidation saying that, you know, even if I wanted to, you know, do this, you know, will I be stonewalled from thinking in new routes, taking new approaches, you know, stuff like that.
Nobody's ever been thrown out of a job because of their belief about evolution.
Unless in
I
academia.
don't know. They may have.
No,
Who
they
knows?
haven't.
And
Well, Richard never got a job
every-
because of his belief in flat Earth.
There is
Every
no job.
crank-
There is no job in evolution, actually. There is
Every crank with a lunatic idea claims they were suppressed, right?
Exactly.
Can I ask a simple question real quickly? Because rocket scientists is saying, you know, it's really annoying listening to the uneducated referring to those that are educated, basically been saying, having a simple piece of paper. No. So are you guys saying
So
if
are
you
there
don't
no
have that piece of
examples
paper
of
that you're
actual people who were
uneducated?
right in
Not the
physics who
paper,
were
it's the
suppressed?
work. It's not the paper,
Right.
it was the work put in to get that piece of paper. And you
Exactly.
guys are dismissing the
But-
work as irrelevant.
No.
And that's
But you
insulting
can
to the people
still
who put in the
get
work.
it. You can still get that same education though without the piece of paper. Is what I'm stating.
You can, but
I
very
have
few
to
people
speak
do.
folks here.
And you
I'd be more
guys
than happy
certainly
to box-
haven't.
I'd be more than
You've
happy
been
to
through
box.
this already. You
I'd
can
be
even
more
get
than
better
happy to box
education in some cases.
I'd be more than happy to box up 4 physics books. You could read them cover to cover, take their tests in every one of them,
Uh-huh.
and you could see if you could pass them. They start from beginning physics to third year physics, and you can see. Tell me if you tell me along the way if you're having problems or if you're actually doing well, and I guarantee you won't be able to do it. Nor will anybody here
Don't
that hasn't.
say that.
It just won't happen. You can
I
go
wouldn't
through.
say that.
Hold on. Some of the stuff you can get through, and because a lot of it's not that technical, a lot of it's more extemporaneous. But most of the chapters you won't be able to survive.
Okay. Well, high school I taught myself because all I did was give me the books at
high school.
homeschool,
This is-
and they sit me the same. And there was no teacher whatsoever.
I'm sure you're a smart gal. I'm really. I think you'd be doing yourself a service to just go back to school and learn something new. If you
I
can,
don't feel like I need to waste money on a piece of paper that's stuff that
Well,
I'm
no,
never going to apply to my life and use.
There's community colleges. There's ways in the state can give you money and take care of. If you're young enough and you have the time. I mean, I don't know your situation personally, and it's none of my business. But if you could do it, definitely worth your time to go back to school and learn a new New things.
Why? But
What do you
why?
mean?
Why
What do you
when I
mean
could be
something
out
new?
here
Shouldn't we
gardening
be
or
learning
something else?
stuff that's old, right? Yeah, yeah. Stuff that's already
Right.
established.
No, new to her. New to her.
Yeah, new to you specifically.
Yeah.
Well, new things happen all
Might
the
be
time in your
physics,
life
might
and
be English,
experiences.
might be art, might be anything. You might find some little niche that you would. I'm excited to learn about this. This is interesting. I'm
Well,
gonna learn
yeah,
more.
I'm just not going back to college. I'm learning how to play guitar here soon. But those things are on my own, and we're doing those things. But you don't have to. I don't need to go and get a piece of paper. Is all I'm saying. And those things
No, you
that
can
I
play guitar and
need
not
in
get a
life
I
is
agree.
not on any piece of paper. And I could get a piece of paper for some of this stuff, but why would I?
But so your point is well
Then, like,
taken.
is flat Earth new to you? Do you care to learn about that? Any aspect
Oh,
of it?
absolutely. I mean, I've learned it for the last 4 years or so. I've known about it. I've been interested in learning about the psychology of it,
Who
what
was
they
your
actually
teacher?
think, how they
Who's your
think,
teacher?
why they think. Very interesting to me. I'm very curious about it. Yes.
Okay.
So I've learned every aspect that I think is possible. Listen, all thousands of hours of videos, and not thousands, but enough to know about what their position is and why they think the way they do.
No, now you're talking about psychology. We were just talking about
not
geometry. Geometry.
not not
It
the
is a
psychology-
psychological problem.
not the psychological problems, because that's a whole other issue. I'm not a psychologist, but the reason that they think the way they think, as far as problem solving, logic, the math, the physics.
Yeah, but you
That's
can't talk about
psychology,
that.
Zenek.
I can't what?
Psychology. Yeah.
I'm not
That is
talking.
psychology.
I suspect that there's a psychological issue
What
here,
about
but
the
I don't.
geometry of it? Right. The geometry.
The geometry of it, yes, I can talk about the geometry of it for sure.
And that's where I think the knowledge systems clash, because knowledge is also a framework of knowledge. What is knowable and what is not. And I think that's where the clash comes, where you have two different knowledge systems that say this is knowable and the other one says, hold up, this is not knowable, or it tries to rein it in and bring it back toward its knowledge system as opposed to the other, with the shape of the earth flat,
Lemon.
round.
Can I say something, Lemon? So that a good
Uh-huh.
example of that is saying, here's the horizon. And I'm not going to get into the details, but here's the horizon. It's not knowable. Why? Because there's something called refraction when we shine light or see things through the air. So there, all bets are off. We don't know anything about the Earth. That's what Flat Earth says, basically.
That is an unreasonable position.
No, not necessarily.
And that's just
no, that's not what we say or folks say.
Aaron, you're not even a flat earther. Don't deem to glean what they say.
Brian.
Well, the thing is, that sort of knowledge system is unreconcilable if you're saying that there's a knowable horizon that we're going to make Earth measurements off of based off of how far we're seeing or whatever. And so at that part, the philosophy becomes quite tenuous.
Lemon, could you explain what you mean by two different knowledge systems?
Well, the globe is saying you're seeing this far because there's a hump of Earth curvature in the way. And they're saying that this is knowable because we know that, when objects get in front of other objects, they block the light and you can't see what's beyond. The flat earthers are saying things like there's angular resolution that we have to use to expand this knowledge base and expand what is knowable about how far we can see even over a flat plane based off of the top and bottom half a vision merging into a line.
But Lemon, we see things that are disappearing, yet we see islands behind them and buildings on those islands behind them. So we know it's not angular resolution. That we know for sure. So that's wrong. See, this is
How do you know? How do you know for sure?
Up and down from the level of the eye.
Twice to 10 times further away. You can still see buildings 10 times further away in that same field of view. But yet, closer to you, 3 or 4 miles, this boat is gone. Where did it go? It's not angular resolution, because I just told you it's 10 times further away behind it.
It's angular resolution relative to the level of the eyes.
Which means
that you have to make your angle up and down from the level of the eyes.
When you go to school, you'll learn that that's not a factor. There's nothing in angle of incidence that talks about angular resolution at all.
So
Your
is
vantage
the only answer curve? Are we talking about curve here?
Yeah, that's the only answer.
Much, yes.
Yes, that's the only answer.
It's the only one that's consistent.
Other ideas, and I'll shoot them down logically, not in a mean way, but in a mathematical way. But yeah, that's the reason why things disappear, because of the curve.
I still don't understand what two the difference between two knowledge systems? They both sound very similar to me. Am I incorrect?
Well, they are similar, but the thing is, Zanuck is talking about angular resolution, but he's not referring to the level of the eyes and the angle made up and down from the level of the eyes. So even his knowledge system treats angular resolution like, I guess, from the midpoint of the object itself, not factoring the level of the eyes.
Because the level of the eye is not a factor in angular resolution. That's
Yeah,
why.
but you never once, Lemon, suggest why that should be an issue.
I
Show us
did
the mathematics-
earlier.
Show us the mathematics in which that's a problem for us, and then we can talk about it.
Well, the philosophy that says why that's the case is looking down a hallway, Mr. Mackey. When
That's
you look
not
down a
philosophy
hallway,
anymore,
everything
right?
converges toward the level of the eyes.
That's not philosophy anymore, right? If you're looking down a hallway, you're no longer doing philosophy.
There is no curve in the hallway.
Exactly. And it's a philosophy that says we're looking down the hallway and seeing something similar with the Earth. Perhaps we have a phenomena here that is based on the level of the eyes.
This is why it's hard to deal with you, because you're just really inconsistent, and we find it hard to believe you don't know this.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, can I ask the question then? Because Lemon to me is making sense.
There's a hallway from France to England that actually has curvature. There's one at
Okay.
the bottom. Yep, it's actually
Okay,
curved.
do you take angular resolution into account for that one too?
Why would you do that?
Angular resolution is just what you can see with your eye, and that's 0.02 degrees.
Right, and I'm asking, so you don't account for your vision?
You always account for your vision because your vision is what you can see. But things don't disappear because of angular resolution, bottom up, top down, left to right. Angular resolution has nothing to do with where your eye line is with respect to level.
Do any of you guys know why
Resolution things don't disappear from the bottom up?
They disappear from the bottom up because they box them. Not because they get squished. That's what Lemon says. They get squished, and they become smaller and smaller until you can't see them anymore. But for some reason, the just above the buildings are perfectly. They're distorted a little bit too. Then they get bigger and bigger. So you're saying that 100 floors of this building are all squished into one little line because of angular resolution, and that's just not true.
Well, Mr. Mackey, based off of the activity in the hallway converging at the level of the eyes, why would you not expect everything to converge at the level of the eyes?
See, here's the problem with that, Lemon, is you say it's converging at the level of the eye, but you're using it as an explanation for why things disappear from the bottom up. And in the hallway example that you guys always point to, you never show anything disappearing from the bottom up. And so I don't know how you can't see that problem.
But Mr. Mackey, since things are converging at the level of the eyes in the hallway, that also implies not just that it converges at the level of the eyes, but that the amount of the object above and below the level of the eyes needs to be factored in how much it's going to disappear. If less of the object is below the level of the eyes, and more of the object is above the level of the eyes, you're going to have convergence in the bottom part of the object, Mr. Mackey, at the level of the eyes.
But this is where you're just not thinking about it very clearly. This is where you're not thinking about it very clearly. I mean, you're just allowing yourself to get confused because you're conflating two very different things, and
depending on
and you're not saying how they're different, Mr. Mackey. So you're not saying how it's different, though.
Well, because in the picture you always show, you never show anything disappearing from the bottom up, right? Is that true or not?
You're talking about the black swan?
No. In the pictures of hallways that you always show, someone keeps posting the same hallway over and over on this chat board, right? And in that picture, nothing disappears from the bottom up, right?
I need to see the one you're talking about.
Okay. Let me ask you the question. Lemon, have you ever seen a picture of a hallway where something disappeared from the bottom up?
Me? No.
Yes. Then why would you use it as an explanation for how things could disappear from the bottom up?
Because all the mechanisms are here, the philosophy is here, and there's no mechanism as to why it would or would not work if everything converges at the level of the eyes.
That doesn't answer the question.
Everything you just said makes no sense to me whatsoever.
So what we're talking about here is the consistent application of principles. So you need to show how the principles are not consistent in how they work or don't work, and you haven't shown that.
I agree. It should be a consistent application of principles, but you're not being consistent. That's the problem.
maybe you should repeat the question because you didn't actually address the question you
Mr.
asked.
Mackey, in what way? You haven't even shown the inconsistency yet. You just say, I don't believe it. What is wrong with the mechanism?
Your ears
Because
suck, Lemon.
in the very example you used to show that things disappear from the bottom up, things do not disappear from the bottom up. And how do you not see that contradiction? I don't understand.
What example is that?
Mr. Mackey, I didn't show anything disappearing from the bottom up, but I did show that things tend to converge at the level of the eyes, and by implication, that means you need to figure out how much of the object is above or below the eye level to see how it's going to converge. What is wrong with that mechanism?
What do you mean by level of the eye?
Parallel to the surface beneath your feet, the flat surface beneath your feet.
So what happens if I tilted my head? What if I tilted my head upwards? Would that matter?
Now you're not looking parallel to the ground, and as you know, Mr. Mackey, parallel lines converge.
Well, but if I tilted my head upwards, do they still converge at eye level somehow?
If it's going off in the direction that you're looking, yes. But unfortunately, the ground beneath your feet is going off in another direction.
Yeah, I'd have to ask you what you even mean. Yeah, because those words mean nothing to me anymore. Because what you just said just seems irrelevant. I don't know.
Mr. Mackey, have you studied perspective? Perspective
Yes, of
says that
course.
parallel lines converge. Do you know what a parallel line is in regards to perspective and how to apply the principle? Okay, so if you're not looking parallel to the ground, Mr. Mackey, would you expect convergence with those non-parallel lines, Mr. Mackey? Yes or no? The obvious answer is no, because you're not looking parallel to the surface anymore.
Lemon, would you agree to me that this conversation's been had like 1,000 times here?
But Mr. Mackey, I am trying to work with you through the obfuscation.
Would you agree with me?
I'm trying to work with you, but you're not giving me anything to work with. So, Mr. Mackey, why would you expect convergence to be similar when you're no longer looking parallel to the ground? Can you answer that without obfuscation?
You're the one obfuscating the thing. You didn't even answer the question that he asked before about the hallway and why
I'm
things don't
working with
disappear.
Mr. Mackey, but I'm dealing with a lot of ego and a lot of obfuscation. I just need to see what his problem with the mechanism is, and I'm still not getting it.
No,
Well,
you're
you haven't
obfuscating.
proposed the
Sorry.
mechanism yet.
I did. Parallel lines converge at the level of the eyes.
No, Lemon. You didn't actually propose a mechanism because you're not even addressing the point that in the hallway the bottom doesn't disappear bottom up. Therefore, you've left out half of the mechanism.
It rises to eye level, Brian. Exactly.
He's left out half of the mechanism already, which means that he's not actually addressing the point. Lemon, can you please address the point instead of just running on the idea that it must do this regardless of the fact that you have no evidence of it?
Well, I was trying to deal with Mr. Mackey's question about looking up and no longer parallel to the ground. Now, if you have a hallway where the ceiling is high enough, yes, the bottom would disappear bottom first, but in most hallways, the top and bottom half of vision from eye level up and down are pretty even. So you're not going to see that in most hallways unless you have a high ceiling.
Okay, Lemon. In that case, we drop eye level to 3 feet. Now it's taller on top than bottom. You still don't see it disappear bottom up. Therein lies your...
Have you done that? Because Life is Short did that and showed that that still occurs. That it does occur based off of how close you are to the surface.
It's actually been shown many times, let's say, on different YouTube channels where people go even a few inches off the ground and they can zoom in to underneath the door frame at the end of the hall.
So take it further. Those distances were relatively short. They were not miles and miles of distance. Just take it further, and eventually it will disappear bottom up if you're less than halfway down to the flat surface. If you're like looking at a 100-foot building and you're trying to get it to set, you need to be lower than the halfway point on that 100-foot building. Half of 100 is 50. Lower than 50 feet, it will tend to set because you're closer to the surface. And the surface, the bottom part of your vision tends to merge first because you have less room on that object from your eye level down.
Exactly.
Does what you said make sense at all to you?
Yes.
To him,
So, this is where I don't want to talk to you, Mr. Mackey, because you're not really asking good questions. You asked about what if I look off and at an angle, and you're not looking parallel to the surface, Mr. Mackey. So by perspective, you don't have the same convergence anymore. Parallel lines converge, Mr. Mackey.
Hang on, Lemon. I'd like to make a point with that. So, like, if you were standing at a beach looking out the horizon, but then you were to look up, to look at the plane that's flying over your head, you haven't actually really changed your eye level, have you? You've just looked in a different direction. Your eyes are still at the same level you were standing at 30 seconds ago, right?
Correct.
Okay. So if we were to watch that same plane head towards the horizon and then see it actually go towards the water and then disappear over it, even though it's still in the air, what's happening there? Why is the plane disappearing into the water?
It's converging into the level of the eyes. The eyes have a different center of vision because they're looking off at a different angle, like Mr. Mackey said. But the level of the eyes remains unchanged, and it's still converging at the level of the eyes at the horizon.
People in the plane are still at the height that they were flying when they were above me.
How far away?
How does that work?
How far away?
Well, the thing is that plane is still going parallel to the flat surface if it's staying at a constant elevation. So it's going parallel to the ground, and as we know, parallel lines converge at the level of the eyes. So it will still converge at the level of the eyes.
The people sitting on the plane are still, 20,000 feet above, or let's take a low flying one for this example. Let's say they're flying at 5,000 feet above the ground. They're still 5,000 feet above the ground, even when the plane disappears from my point of view into the water, what looks like into the water. And I can see this all the time from where I live because we've got an airport here that actually has planes fly out to Lord Howe Island, which is about 500 k's away. So I can sit at the lighthouse and watch planes disappear into the water, but I know the plane hasn't crashed because the people quite often get there safely. So why does it look like the plane's disappearing into the water if it's, still 5 or 10,000 feet above the ground?
With
Because
5,000 feet
in the
elevation, that's it.
because in the foreground,
30.
because in the foreground, Doctor, in the foreground, in the front part before that plane appears to converge in the back part of your vision, in the foreground closer to you, it appears you're going to have convergence where the top half of your vision is going to meet the bottom half of your vision in a nice symmetrical way. You're 5,000 feet off the ground. That's going to happen for 5,000 feet above and below your eye level. Those two halves of vision will merge symmetrically into a horizon line. So anything that's taller beyond that limit will tend to set into that horizon line in the foreground due to perspective and angular resolution.
Turn your head sideways.
Turn your head sideways, level of your eyes is still the same, it's unchanged. You just reoriented the center of your vision slightly, but the level of your eyes remains unchanged. You need to change the level of your eyes.
Hang on, where's the center of your vision on the back of your eye?
The center of your vision in this case is which way you're orienting your head to look up, down, left, or right. The level of your eyes is unchanged. It's at a static level, parallel to the surface.
How did that answer that question?
Ask it again.
Where on the back of your eye is the center of your vision?
That's not the way that I'm using the center of your vision. I'm talking about which way you're looking. So that's not part of the definition that I'm using.
Do you think that the vision that you perceive is at the front of your eye or the back of your eye?
Information inputted into your
focused
eye.
on the retina, the back of the eye, or whatever.
Are you talking about the cones at the back of your eye? The rods and cones at the back of your eye that interpret that information. Is that what you're getting on to?
Why would you? Well, okay, we're talking about information inputted into the front of our eye, the pupil, right? The lens. Information.
The light has to come through the eye. The problem is the light has to come through the eye, and it's a very narrow opening. So things are going to tend to converge at the level of the eyes anyway, because the light has to get into the eye anyway. And as we know from the camera obscura, if you take a string from the top part of your vision, a string from the bottom part of your vision, and crisscross them, there's going to be a place where they meet in the middle where you're going to tend to get an inversion zone where the image is flipped in the camera obscura upside down, and right where those two light rays meet, you're going to tend to have a horizon right in the middle.
Yeah, and it could go into a small brain like Devros.
So everything's converging at the level of the eyes. Right where the image inversion occurs, you're going to tend to have a horizon line because of diffraction through the eye.
Rubbish.
Watch the video by Life is Short if you want to get a new perspective on this. But if you're not interested in a new perspective, then just use ego and hubris to keep the same ideas perpetuity.
So lemon, when you stop with the salad, please. So all the people that have worked in optometry and have worked with cameras and telescopes and all that have got it all fucking wrong then?
Just slightly wrong about this. They thought that the science could stop at that old knowledge that they already had, and 500 years later you have the same heliocentrism.
Diffraction in no way creates a horizon.
Also,
Why
my
not?
question is, what does our vision have to do with whether it's a globe or not?
What creates the horizon, Devros?
Why is it specific only to our eyes?
Because we are looking at it, maybe.